Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault. And you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy
They
there.
got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi ang dagan for each service Latino. I didn't ask you to interrupt me.
Is that correct?
Literally not true.
Oh, for Trump's sake.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. Why can you not see me?
If they didn't, I would lose my mind.
Oh my goodness. What did I have? Oh. Yeah. Oops. How did I do that? I did everything right behind the scene. I had a downstream keyer turned on. I'm sorry about that. The fun thing about a downstream keyer is it's the last thing that goes on the video before it goes out. So if I have that put up on the screen, nothing else happens. I apologize. Everything was hopping this morning. So. What was that? What did you just say? Did somebody find our whoopin' command? Corey, you found whoopin'. Give it a minute. Give it a minute. It will be allowed to be played again.
Chicken fight.
Chicken fighting. All the commands happening this morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Podcast Thursday, I might say.
The zombie apocalypse may be upon us.
Maybe upon us. It's time. It's here. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Corey found whooping. But we have to first, before we talk about that. Auntie Candy, I see you. Peekaboo. Before we talk about that, we have to talk about Ashley, who is first in chat today. Ashley, congratulations.
I don't consent to that name.
Ashley, well, either way, consent or not, it's who you are. Today, we're first in chat. Ashley, you've done this before. We're going to sentence you to internet ownership for your crimes. Crimes against the silence of the morning. It was quiet before you said anything. We were just enjoying, most of us were meditating on the stream, and then Ashley came in and said,
kicked back, taking it easy.
And there you go. There you go. Now we're here. Ashley, congratulations. Thank you very much. If you haven't already, Ashley, make sure you download your internet ownership certificate commemorating this event. It's a pre-signed digital format. Just fill in the blank with your name. It's already signed by myself and my boss, Mrs. R.A. Suitable for framing or for use as a cover sheet on your resume. All right. Good morning. I was a little bit late this morning, mostly because I'm gonna blame Mrs. R.A. I was a little late this morning because at 8:15 this morning, she gently shook my shoulder and said, what time are you planning on going live today? And I said 8:30, and she said, you should probably start waking up. So, no, it's my fault. I blamed her. It's my fault. I stayed up way too late painting the hallway. Surprise project. Yay, we get to paint the hallway. And
Shame on you, sir.
I don't think I left. I don't know. I think I was one of the last people to leave Home Depot before they closed. Oh my goodness. Anyway, we've got things to do before we jump to court where people. I'm about to catch a whooping. I am. Welcome to the gallery, Renee. Good to have you back in the gallery in green. Also, Mandy Strong.
That was terrible. I apologize.
Mandy just gifted a membership. Thank you very much, Mandy. Great way to kick off the morning. We're just getting ready for court as they're preparing. We're going to keep preparing as well. So let's see. Let's put that one on air. Oops, on air and tie it so that when we go back here, it disappears. Boom, like that. When are we All right, we'll be back to court in just a minute because people are just filing in occasionally, here and there a little bit. We have birthdays to take care of this morning. Let's see. Boom. As if on command. Look at that. It was like I read her mind. Sharon, thank you so much. Sharon, one of our great mods who takes care of the birthday list for us this morning. We have Rejected Juror and Wogger, both celebrating their birthday today, which means we get to sing, by we, I mean all of us, we get to sing to them. Of course, we sing the birthday song. What else would we sing? In order to do this, what I need you to do is take a deep breath. Stand up, roll your shoulders back, arms back like that. Breathe in deeply through your diaphragm. Fill your chest. Relax. Let it all out again. Okay. We're going to do warm-ups with you, if you would. La 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 la. There we go. We're all warmed up. Dancers are at the ready. Shoulders back. Project your voice to the back of the room. Blend your voice with your neighbors. And we're going to sing together. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, rejected juror and blogger. Happy birthday to you. Rejected juror and blogger, today is your special day of all the special days. This is the specialist because it's your birthday. Hopefully we can make it a little more specialer or specialist. We're making words now, just for you on your birthday. Congratulations. Thank you. I realize there are a million places you could be, a million people you could be with. We've chosen here to be with us today. The privilege and pleasure is all ours. Thank you very much. Help yourself free. Come to pancakes at Denny's or IHOP or any other establishment that honors that tradition. Michelle's Mixed Media Madness says, I moved all my living room furniture around before 8:15. I'm a slacker. I am a slacker. Oh, man. Jules says, in the courtroom, I'm there. And guess what? We can see her. Hang on. There she is. Yep, she's just over the shoulder. Jules is right over the shoulder of Eva Benefield, who's now taking her seat in the courtroom. Thank you very much, Jules. Oh, Jennifer says, don't forget the drum solo. I think we got another verse or so before the drum solo kicks in. We'll keep the music going. Podcast tonight, by the way, also just for your birthday. We're doing a podcast. 8 p.m. tonight, and it's right here on this channel. So all you have to do is click the subscribe button, ring the bell, and you'll be notified when we go live, just like it's one of our other lives. But it's going to be completely not relevant instead. And you're going to love it. I promise. Okay. Here's the last verse, I think. Sarah Boone's next hearing currently scheduled for 9:24. Just check the docket. Yes. We have that. We have a couple things coming up around that time frame. Okay, here we go. Big finish. Air drums. Get your air drumsticks ready. We're going through the toms and the cymbal. Ready? Here we go. There was. Perfect. All of you nailed it. First try. Thank you very much. Let's see. Farasi have been around longer than this. You got to have the best community. You have been around longer for 5 months. Thank you very much. Appreciate the membership message. Appreciate the support. Winnaboo. Seat. Close. You need just exclamation point seat, and you'll be plopped right down in your reserved seating. Thank you for that. Congratulations on 5 months. Jennifer Gima. I think it's grandma. I think grandma, because I think that's grandchild in your profile picture. Such a cutie. Gifted 1 membership as well. Thank you very much. You guys are quite generous this morning. All right.
All right, State, well, you continue to test that. Good morning, everybody. We're back on the record in State versus Ashley Benefield. 2020 CF 3014. Present is Miss O'Donnell. Miss Field. Present is Mr. Taylor and Miss Benefield. Couple of matters before we get started.
Did the reporter come back? Did he say I need to share something with the court?
Yesterday I had brought up that an anonymous reporter had come up to the 9th floor and spoken with the deputy who's there at the desk with some sort of information. This morning, 5 minutes ago, I was provided a letter from a law firm in West Palm Beach dated yesterday. It says that it was sent to the state and the defense. Did you each get a copy, State?
Yes.
I did, and I responded late last evening, Your Honor, and a copy of Your Honor's chambers as well as Suzanne.
Yes.
Oh, I don't have those responses.
He just said thank you for sending it. I said I didn't get an attachment and realized I was looking at the wrong email.
I thanked him. I told him it was worthy of calling it to the court's attention and that I was confident Your Honor would probably conduct a hearing as a result.
That's what I'm doing. Do you want to be heard on this, State?
No.
Defense? Do you want to be heard on this?
Yes. I'd like the court to question the jurors individually. I don't know what the lawyer said, whether or not the potential juror heard it. I have every confidence the court can do it delicately and first find out which juror, if any, was exposed to that, and then find out if they heard anything that had any impact at all on the perception of the case, and that was extrajudicial in the sense that it was a reference to something that had not been introduced in the court.
All jurors or just male jurors?
Judge, I would suggest respectfully all the jurors, and I think...
Even though the letter says it was a male juror?
Yes, because that's what this anonymous source said. But I think to be safe, to the extent there was some jurors in this location, there's limited places to go for lunch around here, Judge, so I think there's potential that there could have been other jurors there as well. And rather than run the risk of not knowing, I think a simple inquiry by Your Honor would put that to rest.
State?
And Judge, I would just recommend that maybe we ask the group these general questions, and if anybody says that they've heard anything or seen any news or heard you talking, then we can talk to them individually, because these people may not have had any information. And then we'll spend time doing individual on it.
The concern with that is, in my experience, respectfully, any juror that was exposed to that may be very anxious about acknowledging it.
All right, thank you. I'll bring them in individually to ask about that.
Okay, did I hear her say, heard me talking?
Of course, we've already discussed Dr. Quintel when we came back from a recess. He was approached by a reporter in the hallway while he was in the middle of testifying, but on a recess, asked if he could be, the reporter asked if he could ask questions of Dr. Quintel. Dr. Quintel said no, and the reporter gave him a card. That's my understanding from Dr. Quintel.
Yes, sir.
Anybody want to be heard on that?
Did not take it. The card.
Do you want to be heard on that?
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add that Dr.
All right. Do you want to be heard on it, though?
Yes is the answer.
No.
After hours yesterday, I was contacted by Judicial Security and notified that a witness who testified and had not been released from subpoena, and again, this is second or third hand, it's my understanding both parties have been made aware of this, was being interviewed by a news channel reporter in the hallway outside of the courtroom. When deputies were locking up, someone told them that this was going on. I don't think the deputies actually saw it, but it was reported to them.
Reporters.
And Judge, I spoke to the witness, and there was a discussion with the media, but nothing was talked about what was going on in the trial or testimony or anything like that. And I've spoken with the witness and asked them not to do that anymore before the trial.
This is the first I've heard of that, Your Honor. I want to know who the witness was.
The reason I didn't speak in specifics is this is all hearsay within hearsay within hearsay.
I understand.
It was reported that it was Eva Benefield gave an interview to a reporter from News Channel 8.
Give me a moment, Your Honor, please.
News Channel 8. I don't think it's an issue.
I believe she's under Stacy.
Yes.
And the state request that she remain available under the subpoena?
Yes.
Okay. I think perhaps a hearing may be in order.
All right.
And the state would not be opposed to a hearing. I can represent that this particular witness did not speak about anything that was prohibited by the rule of sequestration. No one said to this witness, you're not allowed to talk to anybody about the case, just your testimony and the witnesses in this trial going on right now. So
I would, hang on, before you talk to the witness,
All right.
drag in News 8.
Not to compound it, but to the extent we're doing housekeeping things now, we also have an issue, Your Honor, with an impeachment witness to Stephanie Murphy, specifically Faith Brown, who is representing Miss Benefield during the same proceedings. She was not on our witness list, but given the testimony of Miss Murphy, we are going to have her outside this afternoon, and the court may want to conduct a Richardson hearing as to that. So just for planning purposes.
That goes back
Do you understand
to
that Faith Brown may be called as a witness?
yes.
All right. I wasn't going to get too involved in the Richardson hearing yet. It needs to be done, obviously, and I've got a note for that. All right. So on the Eva Benefield potential interview with someone at News Channel 8,
let's get the reporter in here.
you're not asking for any relief.
No.
I don't know what relief you're going to ask for, but if you're asking for some relief, I'll let you get started.
Speak to that now. He needs to know how the scope
Well,
of
the
it.
relief I would ask for initially is that she obviously be barred from being called as a rebuttal witness, potentially. Secondarily, to the extent the court admonished her about doing exactly that which she did, I've observed thus far the court's general admonishment that it gives to witnesses. I'm assuming that Benefield received it as well. Is she in the courtroom, by the way? Ms. Benefield?
Here she is, yes.
Yeah, I'd like to have her step out.
All right, ma'am, if you please remove yourself from the courtroom.
The problem is defense attorney, there she goes. Defense attorney just stands in the middle of the courtroom, so they have to use like floor mics to pick up the
This is a young
sound.
girl who lost a father. I'm not looking to hurt her, but given her disregard of the court's admonition, I think precluding her from being called as a rebuttal witness at a minimum would be appropriate. Whether or not the court feels any further sanctions are appropriate as a result of her disregard of the court's warning, I defer to you on.
Eva is Doug's daughter.
Judge, I would just dispute that she violated exactly the court's order. And if she does testify, she will testify consistently with what she has already testified to in a deposition. So counsel will know if that changes, but we know what she's going to say because she said things already in the deposition. So I don't think any potential harm has come from it.
Rebuttal. All right. Whenever we talk about having a hearing, my assumption at the beginning of that was that it was going to be evidentiary and people were going to call witnesses and present evidence. Here's what the court knows. Someone told a court deputy that they observed Eva Benefield giving an interview to News Channel 8 reporter in the hallway outside of Courtroom A after court had concluded for the day. At this point, I have no facts or evidence before me. I've got hearsay within hearsay as to something that happened.
All right, Judge.
Yeah, so I don't.
I'll call her.
Well, I gave you that opportunity. That's what I'm saying is that if everybody wanted a hearing,
that was the chance.
then
All right, well, I took it for granted that the court would.
I'm not going to assume this is true.
Yeah, so court likes, I'll be happy to call her and we'll have a brief hearing.
It It's up to you. All right, can you call Miss Benefield back in?
Oh no. Oh no.
State, just looking at the list, you have 3 witnesses left.
Sorry, I didn't read this. Chat
Do we
wasn't on the
expect to
screen.
finish today with the state's case?
Eva's been posting every day about happenings on TikTok.
Come on in, ma'am.
No, I thought you were talking to me.
Robert, do we know which deputy reported the matter? No. Or any of the deputies in the courtroom that saw the conversation late yesterday afternoon? Do we know which deputy it was?
As I said, it was reported to me that some unidentified person told the deputy.
Okay, so give me just one moment.
Are you the one that they told?
Yeah.
Okay, right here. Mr. Taylor.
What did you do? Call the deputy? It's the giant of the
Apparently it
man.
was reported to Deputy Racky.
I have a moment with the deputy.
Of course, State, you want to be present?
Step into our office.
Step into our office. I'm not sure if it was an actual interview. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if this is the same reporter that tried to approach the other witness. They need to be removed from the court. This is the second problem they've caused.
Ms. Benefield, I'll remind you that you are under oath. If you can just get a little bit closer to that microphone and just answer the questions in a loud, clear voice.
Good morning, Ms. Benefield.
Good morning.
You appeared yesterday and testified before Judge White in this case, did you not?
I appeared on Tuesday and testified.
Tuesday. Time flies.
Love it.
At the end of your testimony, do you recall Judge White instructing you about having contact with anyone because you were to remain under subpoena? Do you recall that?
I recall.
Okay. And you were here today because the state requested that you remain as a potential rebuttal witness.
Correct.
Now, what did you think Judge White's directions to you meant?
Well, I was told I wasn't allowed to speak on any of the witnesses in my testimony while in the courtroom.
So, I'm sorry, did you finish?
I'm finished.
All right. Did you realize that when you decided to have a conversation with the reporter?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell us, if you would. I'm just trying to get an explanation. Tell us, if you would, what you were thinking that...
Objection.
Overruled.
After what she said.
What you were thinking that you felt allowed you to do exactly that which Judge White cautioned you not to.
I was caught off guard in the hallway when I was under extreme emotional distress after being here, hearing different testimonies about my father's murder. And when I spoke to the reporter, I made sure not to talk about any of the testimonies or anything that happened in the courtroom or my testimony.
What did you discuss with the reporter?
Just how I felt about the situation and who my dad's character was as I saw him.
When you say about the situation, you mean about the case, the trial?
Not about the trial.
What situation were you referring to?
My emotional state.
Okay. You post on social media?
I do.
TikTok?
Yes.
Any others?
No.
Following your testimony here last Tuesday, did you make any posts?
I did.
She's an adult.
Tell us how many.
3.
3. And tell us one at a time. Were all 3 of them on Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening?
One was on Tuesday.
And when were the other 2?
Yesterday.
Okay. And tell us, as to the first post, what was it about?
I said that I testified.
Okay. And did you have anything to say about your testifying?
I talked about it being on live television.
Mm-hmm. What else?
That somebody back home was watching.
I assume you have copies on your phone?
I do.
You have your phone with you here today?
I do not. Not on me.
Where is it?
It's over in the benches.
In the bushes?
In the benches.
In the benches here in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
With the court's permission, may she retrieve it so we can see exactly what it was that she posted?
Judge, I'm going to object. If he knows, clearly they have the post. So
Well, I don't know.
it's an invasion of her privacy to dig into her phone.
Not if it's on social media, but we started off talking about just speaking with some reporter, and now we're talking about a social media post. If you've seen it, and if she's violating the rules, let's just get it out.
Okay. I'm trying to find that out.
So now it's a fishing expedition. If you know a violation, let's talk about it. If not, let's just get moving. We got a jury waiting.
I understand that, Judge. How do I know? She's told us she posted 3 things. How do I know what it's about? What if one of them involved discussions that were inappropriate? How am I to know that? I've been a little preoccupied, and I don't do social media.
Sir, if you have specific evidence, let's talk about it. If not, you have a team. You've got 1, 2, 3 people in court right behind you. I don't know. Maybe they can look it up. But let's focus on what we know about as opposed to digging into speculation.
I have no further questions.
No questions.
Ms. Benefield, when you had this conversation with the reporter in the hallway, were there any other witnesses around?
Yes.
Now it just exploded. Now it got bigger.
I'm sorry. Let me re-answer that question. None that testified, I think.
Okay, so you're saying there were people standing around,
There were people around.
but none of the witnesses in this case?
No, sir.
She
Not
said,
that
I
I
think.
remember.
Did you talk specifically about the questions that were asked of you or the testimony you've given?
No, sir.
All right. Do you have any follow-up questions to my questions?
Call the reporter.
Do you have any follow-up questions to my questions?
I know this is
All right,
hard
Ms.
on her,
Benefield, you can step back out.
but she violated the
Did you
rule.
want to call any other witnesses?
No, sir.
State.
No.
All right.
I would call the reporter in a heartbeat. Why are you not dragging him in by his... I stopped. I didn't say it.
All right, Ms. Benefield's out the courtroom. Go ahead, sir. Do you have any argument? Do you want to seek any relief? You want to argue in support of any relief?
Yeah, I think she violated the court's admonition that the court routinely gives to the witnesses, and as a result, again, I have no personal interest in seeing the young woman suffer, but I do think violation of the court's admonition is sufficient to strike her as a potential rebuttal witness.
Judge, I think you asked her the relevant questions. I think the questions that you asked her are the admonitions that you gave her as a witness, and she did not break any of those.
Final thoughts? I am certainly distressed that, let me say first, the media policy for the 12th Circuit
Yes.
prohibits the media from conducting interviews inside of the courthouse. It is my understanding that our
ban Channel 8
media and public relations person met this morning, or was going to meet this morning with the media to go over the administrative order again, because certainly I think the media is and should be aware of that administrative order and comply with it. The specific incident that we're talking about after hours yesterday, the facts that are in front of me are not that Ms. Benefield spoke about her testimony or the questions asked. But I also have not heard from the reporter, and I have not seen any tape or footage.
Yes. Why did not hear from the reporter?
At this point, I'm going to reserve on the request, and I'll make a decision. If and when she's called again, I'll make a decision at that point. You just have to remind me if we get there.
I'll satisfy you on it. Thank you.
All right, next.
That reporter should not be in court.
If you just start, I don't care about the order. Just start bringing in the jurors one at a time, please.
Judges, Ms. Beckman allowed back in the courtroom. And Marks as well.
Yes. Yes,
she is.
but I'm going to give her an admonition.
Okay.
Just
hold the jurors.
If you tell him to just hold up for a second, she can come back in. At this point, I'm reserving on whether she can be recalled or not, but I think an admonition at this point is appropriate. Yes, Ms. Benefield could come in.
Is court going to allow her to sit in for the testimony knowing that she may be recalled after the rule has been invoked?
Yes, under Marcy's.
Yeah, I think that's the right decision. She should be allowed to be there.
No, hold on. All right, Ms. Benefield, you can stop right there. Ma'am, the court has ruled at this point that I'm reserving ruling on whether you're going to be allowed to be recalled as a witness or not in this case. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I'll make that ruling down the road. But I want to admonish you about the instructions that I've given and the importance of those. They matter and they need to be followed. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am, you can retake your seat. All right.
Did she pull the posts off social media? Because I cannot see them on her TikTok.
No. Morning, sir. You can just grab this front chair, it's just fine. And can you remind me, please, what juror number you were?
33.
33. All right. Juror 33, the reason I'm going to bring the jurors out individually is that this morning the court was provided a letter from a law firm representing a reporter who indicated that during the lunch break yesterday, the news reporter walked to a restaurant near the courthouse for lunch. Inside, there was a large screen television playing coverage and commentary of the trial. Additionally, 2 individuals in the restaurant were discussing a witness's testimony. The conversation occurred within earshot of a man who the news reporter recognized to be a juror in the case. So I'm bringing you out to find out, did that happen to you? Have you received any information outside of these 4 walls?
No, I didn't go to a restaurant. I was actually at 8. I was in my car and here in this building.
All right. State, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Defense?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Next. We're going through the whole list here. This is going to repeat over and over, one at a time.
Good morning, ma'am. Just grab that first chair. And could you please remind me which juror number you were?
15.
15. All right, ma'am. The reason I'm bringing about jurors individually is that this morning I was provided a letter from a law firm in West Palm Beach that claims to represent a news reporter. And the news reporter anonymously has stated that during the lunch break yesterday, the reporter walked to a restaurant near the courthouse for lunch. Inside, there was a large screen television playing coverage and commentary of the trial. Additionally, 2 individuals in the restaurant were discussing a witness's testimony. The conversation occurred within earshot of a man who the news reporter recognized to be a juror in the case. So I'm bringing everybody out to talk about, have you seen any news coverage? Have you heard people discussing the case? Received anything outside of this room?
No, sir. I go home at lunch.
State, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Defense?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning. Just have a seat right there. And could you do me a favor and remind me of your juror number?
20.
Ma'am, the reason I'm calling out the jurors individually is because this morning I received an email, a letter from a law firm in West Palm Beach who claims to represent a reporter. And the reporter has anonymously stated that during the lunch break yesterday, the news reporter walked to a restaurant near the courthouse for lunch. Inside, there was a large screen television playing coverage and commentary of the trial. Additionally, 2 individuals in the restaurant were discussing a witness's testimony. The conversation occurred within earshot of a man who the news reporter recognized to be a juror in the case. So I'm asking everybody, are you familiar with that? Has that happened to you? Have you received any information outside of these 4 walls?
No, I have not.
State, any questions? Defense?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, good morning. Good morning. Have a seat right there. That's fine. Could you remind me of your juror number?
Original 42.
42. Thank you. All right, ma'am. The reason I'm calling out the jurors individually is because this morning I was given a letter from a law firm in West Palm Beach who claims to represent an anonymous reporter. And the letter says, during the lunch break yesterday, the news reporter walked to a restaurant near the courthouse for lunch. Inside, there was a large screen television playing coverage and commentary of the trial. Additionally, 2 individuals in the restaurant were discussing a witness's testimony. The conversation occurred within earshot of a man who the news reporter recognized to be a juror in the case. So the reason I bring everybody out is just to say, are you familiar with this? Have you heard of this? Have you been approached by anybody? Have you watched anything on TV? Anything at all?
No, Judge. Yesterday, a couple of us chose to just not go to the restaurant area, and simply because we saw some people out and about, and we just figured it would be best to just stay clear of all of that. And no, I have not watched or viewed anything on media.
All right, thank you. State?
No questions, Judge.
Defense? No. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning. Just have a seat right there. That'll be just fine. And ma'am, could you remind me of your juror number for Monday?
35.
All right, thank you very much. Ma'am, the reason I'm calling the jurors out individually is because this morning I was provided a letter from a law firm in West Palm Beach. And they claim to represent an anonymous reporter. And here's what the letter says, essentially. During the lunch break yesterday, the news reporter walked to a restaurant near the courthouse for lunch. Inside, there was a large screen television playing coverage and commentary of the trial. Additionally, 2 individuals in the restaurant were discussing a witness's testimony. The conversation occurred within earshot of a man who the news reporter recognized to be a juror in the case. So I'm bringing everybody out to say, are you familiar with this? Did you see any of this? Have you done anything to look at or hear anything outside of this courtroom?
I have not.
All right. State?
No questions.
No questions. All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right, ma'am. Have a seat. And could you please remind me of your juror number?
Just from the day when I was here on Monday.
Yes.
Number 21, I believe.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, ma'am. The reason I'm talking to each of the jurors individually is because I received a letter this morning from a law firm in West Palm Beach. And they claim to represent an anonymous reporter. And what the letter says is during the lunch break yesterday, the news reporter walked to a restaurant near the courthouse for lunch. Inside, there was a large screen television playing coverage and commentary of the trial. Additionally, 2 individuals in the restaurant were discussing a witness's testimony. The conversation occurred within earshot of a man who the news reporter recognized to be a juror in the case. So I'm bringing everybody out to say, are you familiar with that? Do you know anything about it? Or have you looked at anything outside of these 4 walls during this trial?
No, I'm not aware. The only situation I do know, one of the jurors, Ted, I believe mentioned he was out to lunch, and he mentioned that he did get it. He got up and left a restaurant, but that's all he mentioned. He said he felt uncomfortable and left.
Ted.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ted.
No, hold on.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Drag Ted in here.
Just like in trial, they get a chance to ask their questions too.
No questions, Judge.
No question. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Ted did the right thing, apparently.
All right. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Could you please remind me of your juror number?
My original one or here?
Originally.
29.
All right. Thank you. Ma'am, the reason I'm bringing everybody in individually from the jury is because this morning I received a letter from a law firm in West Palm Beach.
We're going to call this our TED
and they
Talk.
claim to represent an anonymous reporter. And here's what the letter says. During lunch on yesterday, the news reporter walked to a restaurant near the courthouse for lunch. Inside, there was a large screen television playing coverage and commentary of the trial. Additionally, 2 individuals in the restaurant were discussing a witness's testimony. The conversation occurred within earshot of a man who the news reporter recognized to be a juror in the case. So the reason I bring everybody out is to say, do you know anything about this? Have you heard anything about this? And also, have you viewed or seen anything outside of this courtroom?
No, I haven't. And I brought my lunch yesterday and ate downstairs on the table.
State?
Because the court's too cheap to provide lunch. I think I'm not sure if we go with the teddy bear.
Sir.
You can't use the
please
TED
remind
logo.
me of your juror number from Monday.
43.
Thank you, sir. The reason I'm bringing all the jurors out individually is because I received a letter this morning from a law firm in West Palm Beach, and they claim to represent an anonymous reporter. And here's what the letter essentially says. During the lunch break yesterday, the news reporter walked to a restaurant near the courthouse for lunch. Inside, there was a large screen television playing coverage and commentary of the trial. Additionally, 2 individuals in the restaurant were discussing a witness's testimony. The conversation occurred within earshot of a man who the news reporter recognized to be a juror in the case. So I'm calling everybody out individually to say, do you know anything about this? Are you aware of this situation? And also, have you been following the court's admonitions? Have you been influenced? Or have you seen anything outside of these 4 walls?
Yes, Your Honor, that was me at the restaurant. I was getting my lunch to go, and I was keeping everything out of my view and wasn't looking at anything on the news. And I left immediately because I felt uncomfortable and I haven't gone back to the restaurant. That's what I did. I ate my lunch in the park right out in front of the courthouse.
All right, sir. So when you said you weren't paying attention, was that to the television?
That's correct. I was not in view of the television at all, and I asked the business owner to pack my lunch to go so I could leave.
And did you overhear two individuals in that restaurant discussing a witness's testimony?
I did not.
State?
No question.
No questions.
Thank you, sir.
Ted, good job. You did the right thing. I'm glad we had this little talk.
All right. Well, ma'am, can you please remind me of your juror number from Monday?
38.
38. Thank you.
What was the number, Judge?
38.
Thank you.
Ma'am, here's why I'm calling everybody out individually. This morning I received a letter from a law firm in West Palm Beach, and I want to talk to everybody individually. And they claim to represent an anonymous reporter. And the letter says, essentially, during the lunch break yesterday, the news reporter walked to a restaurant near the courthouse for lunch. Inside, there was a large screen television playing coverage and commentary of the trial. Additionally, two individuals in the restaurant were discussing a witness's testimony. The conversation occurred within earshot of a man who the news reporter recognized to be a juror in the case. So the reason I'm calling everybody out individually is just to say, do you know anything about this? Have you heard anything about this? And have you seen any news or anything outside of these four walls about this case? State?
No question.
No?
No question.
Defense?
No question.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
The only thing Ted could have done better is could have reported it himself when he got back from lunch.
All right, the jury's out. State, do you want to be heard on this issue?
No, thank you.
Defense?
No.
All right, the letter that I received from the law firm is going to be filed in the court file.
The daughter's name, I think, is Ghost Cowboy on TikTok. Ghost space Cowboy. Now what, Judge? Can we start court yet? We're like an hour late.
Someone in the audience that were at the same restaurant and had some knowledge confirming his story.
Confirming his story.
That's
Okay.
true.
He requested the TV be turned off.
That he requested it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The deputy has informed me that somebody in the audience was at the same
our girls.
restaurant.
That's our girl.
And again, this is hearsay within hearsay. Would confirm that the juror asked for the television to be turned off.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody want me to find out who that is and have them brought forward? State?
Give me just a moment. No, Your Honor.
All right. So is there anything else we need to take up before we get started with?
That's the right thing to do. I think Jules did the right thing. If she had information, present it, let them decide what to do. Now she can rest easy. If she walked out of there saying, "Hey, I knew something about this and didn't say anything," that would have been a problem.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and bring the jury in.
All right. Finally, we get to use the soundbite we've been waiting for all morning.
We will bring the jury.
It's whooping, Greeners. It's whooping.
I think I'm about to catch a whooping.
scratch all that. Oh, that was terrible. I apologize.
All right, now we can finally start.
Or you all can have a seat. Welcome back, everybody, as a group again. Just need to confirm that I kind of talked about this individually just a moment ago, but that no one has talked amongst yourselves about the case or began your deliberations. No one's talked with anybody outside of the jury about this case, and no one has done any research on the people, places, things, or legal topics we've heard anything about. All right, everybody says no. When we left off yesterday, the state was still presenting its case. State, call your next witness.
State calls Sergeant Brian Quilies.
All right, Sergeant Brian, day 3, witness 17.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Hello, sir. My name is Judge White. I'm presiding over the case. As the deputy said, just make yourself comfortable in that chair. Get about 12 to 15 inches from the microphone. It does adjust up, down, left, right. There you go. And if you just speak in a loud, clear voice right into it, it should be just fine. If we hear you breathing, you're too close.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name and spell your first and last name.
Brian Quilies, Brianquilles.
Where do you work?
Manatee County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you worked there?
About 19 and a half years.
What is your current position with them?
I'm the supervisor of the Technical Services Unit.
Okay. And you're, I don't know if I said this, you're a sergeant?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the Technical Services Unit?
It's a unit that gets involved in the technical aspects of criminal investigations. One of the responsibilities is downloading data from cell phones and analyzing that data.
Okay. And prior to your current position, what positions did you have at the Sheriff's Office?
Several. I started on the road, moved over to a COPS unit, eventually moved over to the Special Investigations Division as an undercover detective for a couple of years. After that, there was a position involved in, again, technical aspects of investigations. It just wasn't called the Technical Services Unit at the time. And that's until I did that position for a number of years until I was promoted, and eventually the Technical Services Unit started, and that's when I started supervising that unit.
And what training and education do you have to do your current position?
I've had probably over around 800 hours of various technical training, some related to cell phones, some related to technical surveillance, but roughly 800 hours of total training.
Okay. And I want to talk about specifically cell phones and how you deal with those. So how much training would you say you've had in cell phones and analyzing cell phones?
It's probably a third of that 800, so around 250, 260, something like that.
Okay. When you do what I call a forensic examination of a phone, what do you do? Just briefly.
It's really a case-by-case basis. There's each phone, it's somewhat of a research project. There's so many variables, but ultimately that phone will get plugged into a forensic workstation. Software would be used to be able to download or extract that data from that cell phone, and that same forensic workstation will use software to be able to decode or parse that data to be able to review it.
When you download, I call it dump, a cell phone, when you dump the information from a cell phone, is it voluminous?
Yeah, it can be. Yes, it's quite a bit.
Okay. And is it easy to interpret without help?
No, you definitely need a certain expertise to be able to look at it. You need software to make it a little bit more of a convenience to be able to look at it, but definitely need some assistance to be able to do it.
And do you have programs, software that helps you with that?
Yes.
What are the names of the ones you use?
Our main state program is Cellbrite. It helps us extract the data. If it needs to bypass encryption and bypass locks, it'll help us do that as well. There's other programs that we use, Gray Shift, excuse me, as well, to be able to unlock the data and extract it. We have toolkits that I like to refer to of data or of software to be able to use.
And give me a general idea of how many phones you've done this with.
Me personally, hundreds. I want to say the unit as a whole has steadily done 200 to 300 leading up to about 2002, and that has increased probably closer to about 500 devices for this year alone, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so the unit 500 devices for this year.
Yes.
And when you use software like Cellbrite or Gray Shift, does it allow you to put whatever data you want, for instance, pick out what you want and put it in an easily readable form?
You can filter the reports that the software displays, and if you only want it to include messages, you can create a report with just those messages, sure.
So, for instance, on just your average cell phone, if you did a cell phone dump, you would get messages like text messages.
Yes.
And emails.
Yes.
Internet searches.
Yes.
And all different things that would be on your phone.
If those data transactions exist on the phone, you will typically get those. Yes.
Okay. So this software allows you to pare that down to what you want.
Yes.
In the instant case where you asked to do extractions on 2 phones.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to show you what's been previously entered into evidence as States Exhibit 11 and 12. You can take a look at both of those. Can you tell me what those are?
These are the 2 cell phones that I had done examinations on, one of them belonging to Doug Benefield, the other one belonging to Ashley Benefield.
And is that the evidence tag that's on there, do you recognize that?
Yes.
And does it have your information on it?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So did you go through the process that you just explained with both of these phones?
There were differences in the process, but they ultimately we were able to get a path to data and produce a report for that data.
Okay. And which one were you able to extract first?
Doug's phone, we were able to extract first.
Okay. And then were you able to extract data from Ashley's phone?
We were able to eventually. It did take quite some time.
Okay. Why did it take quite some time?
That phone, it was passcoded, or it had a PIN code. I want to say it was a 6-digit PIN code, and the software it took a long time to actually bypass that encryption or that PIN.
Okay, so if you don't have the passcode or a way to get into the phone, your system can do that? Yes,
it varies in length of how long it could take to bypass, but yes, the system allows for that.
Okay, and you called one of those Doug's phone and one of those Ashley's phone. When you do extractions of the data, do you get information about identifying who owns the phone?
Yes.
And can you just explain what that is?
A lot of the times, especially with iPhones, you'll have an Apple ID that could be associated with the person that owns a phone. In the contact information, it'll have the owner's information, so it's pretty easily identify who that phone belongs to, especially with iPhones.
Okay, and the one phone, I'm not sure if it's 11 or 12, that you said was Doug's phone?
12.
12. Did that have identifying information on it?
Yes.
Okay. That identified it as Doug's phone?
Correct.
And then for Ashley's phone, same question?
Yes.
Okay. Did you prepare a spreadsheet for this case?
I did.
And what is on the spreadsheet?
It was communication between Ashley and Doug extracted from Ashley's phone from September 20th of 2020 until September 27th of 2020.
Okay. And when you say communication, what do you mean?
In that particular report, it was mainly text messaging back and forth. There were a few phone calls and I want to say at least one email, but mostly text messages.
Okay. And you said you prepared the spreadsheet from Ashley's phone. Did you also look at the information from Doug's phone to compare that information was on his phone as well?
Yes.
Okay. And was it?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 98. You can tell me if you recognize that.
I do.
And what is it?
This is the CD containing the Excel spreadsheet that we just talked about.
Okay. And when you said there's communications between the two, if there were any attachments to those communications, would they also be in your spreadsheet?
Yes, they would. Yes.
Okay. And you looked at this?
Yes.
Yes. And is it accurate based on the spreadsheet that you created?
Yes.
State would enter into evidence States 98.
Any objection to State's Exhibit 98?
No.
Received.
So I'm going to publish the spreadsheet now. If we could turn down the lights and potentially, it's a little difficult to read, potentially shut the blinds.
Okay, I just watched the last of Eva's posts on TikTok, and I think that one's a problem. It starts off with her showing a screenshot
I know
of
this
someone's
is very
response back
small,
to her,
at least from
and
where
she
I'm
ends by
sitting.
saying she reads all the messages.
I don't know if I have handed you an exact copy, a hard copy.
That could be a problem.
So I don't know what is easier for you to read. I know that print is very small as well.
Sorry, Mrs. Don. Can you approach for just a minute?
Sure.
So I feel for the girl, but the rules of court are very strict. She's clearly talking about court by saying, "Hey, I just testified here." You know, she's made a shirt that says, you know, I think it's in poor taste, but that's her decision. I'm not, you know, I wouldn't have done it, but she made a shirt that seems to be, it shocks me a little bit about what she talks about, that her dad was murdered and all she got was this t-shirt company type thing. But my Bombay joke was worse, so that it was. I've been in poor taste as well. I'm not going to come down on her for that. But the post that I think is a problem is she initially said, "I testified in court." You know, testifying in court is really nerve-wracking, knowing that your crush is watching back home on TV. And then she made another post where she showed a screenshot of her crush saying, "I thought you looked cute," or whatever, you know, they loved the outfit or something like that. She talks about the outfit for a while, and at the end of that she says, you know, "I can't talk about court right now. I want to tell you about all sorts of stuff, but as soon as I get out of court, I turn on my phone and I just scroll through and read all the messages." Whoa, 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 whoa. Somebody could say something in there, and it's a big, big problem. Yeah. So I think yes, she should be allowed in court. That's Marcy's rule. But I think she might have to be excluded as a rebuttal witness. She's already testified once. She didn't witness the event. I think the state loses the opportunity to use her as a rebuttal witness. If they're only going to use her if Ashley gets up and testifies, because she would have personal knowledge of, you know, the situation being different than what she testified to, because she did live in the home when Doug and Ashley were together. All right. TikTok generation doesn't think the same way as us oldies. It's true. She's in her 20s. I mean, she's not a kid anymore. She's an adult, but she did have a rough childhood, and I feel for her. I mean, I'm glad I still had my parents when I was 24. I mean, I was still figuring things out. I still am figuring things out, but her rebuttal testimony may have been more impactful. And honestly, I think that would be a big loss for the state, because, you know, the daughter of the victim getting up and testifying and putting a big closing stamp on everything with rebuttal testimony, especially if Ashley testifies and say, "No, that's a lie. I was there. That's not how it went down." That could be huge for the state. Good. All right, so we've got a sidebar going on. this we're about to get to the juicy texts, which yeah, TikTok's dangerous. There's a lot there. TikTok has nearly been banned in the United States. I mean, the Congress has looked at banning it, and it's mostly because it's owned by the Chinese government. And if you think Google and Amazon gather a lot of data, gather a lot of data on you. Yeah, TikTok does the same thing, and they use it for whatever purpose they want. So, are we up to 132? I missed the objection, right?
Are you going to read from the one in front of you or the one behind you?
I'm going to attempt to read the one in front.
Okay, because I can try and make this a little bigger once we get through what we're looking at. So, I have a laser pointer for you.
Free laser pointer.
The button is yours.
And the perks of testifying are great.
And I have one as well. I do want to talk a little bit about these attachments that are on the phone or on this spreadsheet. Are you able to tell when you look at one of these attachments where that image or picture or video came from?
It depends on each attachment. There could be metadata there that the attachment could have been from a screenshot. It could have been from the actual phone, taken with the actual phone. So it just, again, case by case basis.
Okay. So there is a video on this phone that, and I just want to draw your attention to it, that shows some people at a restaurant. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No.
Let me... Hold on one moment and I'll let you know which one it is.
Wait for it. We're doing the slow reveal. Cameraman teasing us with the idea that there might be something on the screen above the witness, but we can't see it yet. Oh, it was a Rickroll. There's nothing up there. Never mind. Let's go back on the witness. Is the cameraman operating?
It's line number 25 on your spreadsheet.
Whose xylophone just went off?
Can you tell from what you're looking at where that video came from? Or do you recall from your investigation before where that video came from?
Based on what I'm looking at, it's an attachment from a text message from Doug Benefield to Miss Benefield.
Okay. And when you looked at Doug Benefield's phone, could you tell whether this movie was taken on his phone or sent to his phone?
I don't have a recollection of the actual metadata of the video itself on either phone. This is just looking at it from the attachment perspective, not the specific video itself.
Okay. If we could approach, Judge.
Why is he supposed to have a recollection? We never require the tech guy who's dealing with all the data, terabytes of data potentially, to remember everything. Why can't he just read from the report? He doesn't have a recollection. It's a huge screen, so it actually needs a massive motor to roll it up and down. And even though it's mounted right on the wall and it's not covering anything, the judge insists on putting it up when it's not in use. So it's very loud and noisy. Quite disruptive to the process.
Okay, so let me hook this back up. And let's talk about what we're looking at first, and then I can try and make this a little bigger so people can see it. All right, so the first column just has the number of the injury, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and the second column is what?
It's just the type of entry it is.
And give me a couple of examples of the type of entry that it is into the phone.
In this timeline, it's labeled as an instant message. If it was a phone call, you would see phone call. If it was an email, you would see email.
Okay. And what does instant message mean? Is that a text?
It's a text.
Okay. And then the third column is what?
It's the direction of that transaction. It's specifically dealing with messages, whether it's incoming or outgoing.
Okay. So that would be incoming or outgoing from
effect.
Ashley Benefield's phone.
Correct.
All right. And then the next column?
It's whether or not that data transaction has an attachment.
Okay. And then the next column?
It's the date.
And the next?
It says time, but it also has the date and the time in the correct time code and time zone.
Okay, you said correct time zone. Can you explain that real quick?
So if you see UTC -4, UTC is what's considered standard time for world clocks. The time where the prime meridian is in the world, you subtract from that and you come up with a time code or the time zone that you're in. We are currently in -4. We're technically -5, but because daylight savings times, we actually subtract -4.
Okay. So does your software do that automatically?
Yes.
Okay. So when it says at the first line, it says 8:20.02, and that says UTC -4, that is the current Florida Bradenton time?
Correct.
Okay. And then the next column. And I made it bigger on the screen if it's easier for you to see.
I can see it fine here. The party is the people that are a part of the actual message.
Okay. And are these the labels, the names that are entered into Ashley Benefield's phone?
Correct.
Okay. And the next column?
The description will, in this case, the first one is blank, but ultimately you will have the body of a text message. Sometimes it'll be empty depending on the nature of it, but that's where the body of the text message would be.
Okay. So the next column?
The source is just the software's way of saying if it was a native message or if it was taken with a third-party application.
Okay. And the next column?
The attachment is the actual file itself and the file name.
And then the last column?
The source file information has a lot of metadata where that file actually exists and the file paths and the size. And if you look at the table, all this information comes from databases, and it explains where or what table the database that this message or this data lies.
Okay. So let me move it back over. So after we get through this explanation, we'll move much faster, but the first message is what? If you could just explain to us what that is.
Item number 1 is listed as a message. It's an incoming message with an attachment, and it appears there's no body to it. In other words, there's no actually text string. It's just the actual attachment itself.
And who is it from and who is it to?
It's from Doug to, I'm just going to say the name that's on the actual.
That's fine.
It says Ashley Christina.
Okay. And is this the attachment?
Yes.
Okay. And if you could just read for the record what that says.
It says, am I now trying to win the favor and approval of men or of God? Or am I seeking to please someone? If I were still trying to be popular with men, I would not be a bondservant of Christ.
Okay. And then the next message is what?
Number 2 appears to be an outgoing message. It's from Ashley Christina to Doug Benefield.
And how much later than the first message is that?
About 2 hours, it appears.
Okay. And so from Ashley to Doug, and what is it?
The description says loved an image.
Okay. So she loved the image from before.
Correct. That's more of an action than actual writing something out.
Okay. She didn't type loved image.
No.
The phone is saying that she hit some button.
Correct.
To love the image. All right. And then the next message is from right about the same time, and that says what?
Same time, that says good morning. There's another little icon after it, but it just didn't come out on here.
Okay. And then if you could just continue to read.
The next message, number
right,
4?
The next message. If you can just say what time,
okay.
To and from, and then what the message is.
So the next message sent around the same time, 10:36 a.m. It's from Doug to Ashley Christina. It says good morning with a few emojis. Then the next message after that, there's appears to be an attachment, and that's at 11:43 from Doug to Ashley Christina.
And what is the message right after that? Oh, I just went too far. Right after the attachment, I'm sorry.
Right after the attachment?
Yes.
It would be number 6. It's a message at 9:20, 11:43 from Doug to Ashley, and it says run, baby, run with a few emojis.
Okay. And so now I'll just play the attachment.
Run, baby. Run, baby.
Okay, so Doug says run, baby, run to Ashley, and then what does she do?
That would be number 7. It's a instant message right after. It's at 12:16, and it just says laughed at a movie.
Okay. And if you can just keep reading.
Number 8 would be an outgoing message. It's from Ashley to Doug. It's on the same date at 12:16 p.m. It's just a few emojis. They appear to be laughing emojis.
And you don't have to mention the times right now until it switches a large time span. So go ahead.
Apparently, we're going to cover
the
their
next would
entire
be
courtship
an incoming message from Doug to Ashley asking ready to rock and roll. The next is from Ashley to Doug, give me a few LOL, trying to round up the cats. It's like trying to teach a ballet to squirrels. The next is an incoming message from Doug to Ashley, says ha with exclamation points. The next is...
And we've established that it's all either from Doug to Ashley or Ashley to Doug.
Correct.
So if you can just say who's speaking and then the message from this point.
Number 12 from Doug, he says, that's funny. After that, it's from Doug, says he's liked, give me a few. It's basically liking a previous text message, and it just repeats.
Okay.
The next is an outgoing from Ashley, says, OMG, I'm exhausted, LOL. The next is also from Ashley, you can come over now.
Now, I didn't ask you about the color coding on this, but what do the colors mean?
It was just to make it easier to read which one was outgoing, and on all the outgoings, which is Ashley's phone, are
easier for
Ashley's phone, and the incoming is the other color.
And so the outgoings are what color?
The outgoings are the blue-gray.
Okay.
Yep.
Or
I'm sorry, blue-gray. The outgoing is the orange.
The orange. Okay. So if Ashley's speaking, it's orange. If Doug's speaking, it's gray.
Correct.
Okay. So I believe we ended at OMG, I'm exhausted, LOL. Go ahead.
I believe I had stated the outgoing message, you can come over now. Number 16 from Doug, hot, need to video the rodeo, okay, headed that way. From Ashley, she responds, she liked what he had said earlier and just repeats. Incoming, from Doug, I'm walking around to back.
So here's a back.
The response, I could let you in the front, or which, and then adds to that whichever. He responds, okay, front good. She responds with a thumbs up. He responds, me and XS boxes arrived. She responds, LOL. he responds with a message that includes an attachment without a body. Then there's a call log, which is number 26. It's an outgoing call log to Doug for, I believe, 11 seconds.
Okay. And then let me scroll down on here. After the phone call, what happens?
Michelle, it has been a spicy
Oh,
trial.
let me back up just a second. What time was that phone call?
Same date, 9/27/24 in the evening.
And then at 8:58 in the evening, that next entry, what is it?
It is a message from Doug. It says, "Good night, sweetie, theta waves," with a couple emojis. "I'll be done by 1 tomorrow and plan on joining the party." And then there's an outgoing, and then again, another action of just loving that previous text message. And then there was a response at 9:23 that says, "Good night," with a couple emojis. "Ha, you sure you want to come hang out with the slum, ? And 9:23, he responds, "Yep, be smeshin' at the slummin'."
Smeshin'?
9:24.
Should I Google that?
There was, again, an action of laughed at the previous message.
Okay, so that was at 9:24 p.m., and it looks like the next entry is at 7:36 a.m.,
Correct.
And what is that?
That is, believes to be an attachment without a body. It's a long string of characters, JPEG image.
And that came from Doug or to Doug?
That was from Doug.
And I'm going to display the attachment. You don't have to read all of this, but what is this?
Just another Bible verse.
So he was outside her house trying to decide which door to come in, and they texted like
Bible
7
verse,
times before she let him in.
What is the next thing that happens?
She appears that she loves the image and then responds with "good morning." He responds back with "good morning" with several emojis. And
we need to know the emojis.
Hours later, responds with, or says, "headed that way in about 30 minutes.
So that's approximately 3 hours later. He says headed that way in about 30 minutes.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a response from Ashley that says, "Oh, hey, wow, you done for the day? Don't rush because of us. We are out for a walk now. Not in a rush to get started today, LOL. We'll have to round up the cats when we get home anyway." There's a response from Doug, "Oh, nice, a little breezy, which helps. Getting early start so can finish up early to come over and be with y'all and play W. Emerson," typically shorthand for with Emerson, "free y'all up some. Just ping when good to head over." And Ashley responds with a like of that previous message. And then responds with "will do," and also adds in a new text message, "Want to grab a can opener at Publix on your way over, ? LOL. I of course packed the one we had." He responds, "Ha, too funny. Yep, we'll get one." She responds, "Thank you. Trying to get the cats, LOL." And after that, there's an incoming message. Appears to be an attachment as well.
Okay, so this is not their engagement. This is not their courtship. This is, I
Go
think,
ahead. Some of these attachments
up to
don't
the
open
shooting.
On this computer. Can you explain kind of why that is?
I think that one of the previous videos that you had, sometimes it's a codec issue. The files are actually not necessarily embedded in the actual spreadsheet itself, but I can take this same file and bring it over to another computer, and it might open. It just depends. It depends on the computer how it's set up to open that particular file.
Okay.
Can opener, I can confirm. Can opener is the correct tool
So
to summon
after
a
the
cat.
attachment, I'm trying to slide this back over. Let's see. Let me try to open this. Okay, so So this is one that will not open. So I slid it back over. If you could tell us again, starting at 46, I believe it is.
Well, after that attachment, it's 45.
Or 45, sorry.
And it's an incoming, says from Doug, in the crazy loop at Gay, G-A-Y-E. And it's probably a misspelling because he corrected himself and put gate in the next message. There is a call log that has 0 seconds to it at 3:17, and then an incoming message walking around back, and then.
So the walking around back is approximately what time?
3 o'clock in the afternoon, or 3:21.
The next message is approximately what time?
9 o'clock at night.
Her Recovery Addict hoodie right
message
now.
is?
Good night.
That looks familiar.
And she responds at 9:22 with good night and looks like a sleeping emoji.
And the next communication?
The next would be an incoming message from Doug to Ashley. Appears to be an attachment, some type of JPEG image.
And you don't have to read this, but what is it?
It's another Bible verse. I believe we're on, after that attachment, we're on 52.
Yes.
It is an incoming message from Doug. It says, good morning with some emojis. Hope you slept okay. She responded at 9:28. Loved the image, or loved an image, and also an additional good morning. Doug then emphasized the good morning, just another action that he took on a previous message. And the next communication was at 11 o'clock a.m. with a wave emoji, looks like. And at 11:22, he responds again with how's morning. She responds with also a wave emoji at 11:26, then says, good, the scramble to get all the loose ends tied up, LOL. He responds, no kidding, I'm done. Around 1, we'll head that way. Been going since like 3 a.m., LOL. She responds, OMG, 3, why is that? He responds, just to get work done so can pack. Love mornings, all quiet. She responds, okay then. He responds, Spark is best friend, LOL. She laughed, another action for that message. And another response from Doug, finished up here, yay, headed that way.
And what time was that?
That was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1:17.
Okay. And then after that?
At 1:19, she says, oh, take your time, no rush in, not in a rush today. And at 1:20, a response, LOL, with an emoji, think we all are getting pooped from the efforts. She responds with liked a previous message, and it just repeats. There is also a laughed at LOL, again laughing at a previous message. Then another message at 1:36 says, can you think of anything we need at Lowe's or anywhere? Then there's actual call log at 1:42 that lasts about 49 seconds. And that was from Doug to Ashley. And then at 3:30, there's a message from Doug, headed that way in a few minutes. I'd nothing need. And a message from Ashley, alrighty, we are just out for a walk, still can't think of anything needed at the moment. There's an action liked already, and the message repeats from a previous message. Doing front gate, I'm assuming circle, but CIRCL, and a call log from Doug to Ashley with 0 seconds. Incoming from Doug, I'm here. And it looks like another call log for about 20 seconds.
And that's about, I'm sorry to interrupt, that's about what time?
That was at 3:56 in the afternoon.
Okay. And the next message is at about what time?
9:26 p.m. It's a message from Ashley Christina to Doug. It says good night with an emoji. And then after that, Doug responds, good night, precious girls. And after that, actually, again, an action of loving that previous response. And the next several messages appear to be related to attachments.
Okay. So the next attachment I'll put up.
This does
Who
not
are
seem
these
spicy.
attachments sent from?
These were from Doug to Ashley Christina.
And then in the middle of this, so it would be, I'm not getting the lines correct, but I think it's line 87 maybe, at 9:29:35.
9:29:35 is line 86.
Okay.
And that's another action of loving an image.
Okay.
I move that all these text messages have to be read by Morgan
And
Freeman
there's one more attachment, I believe.
to give them impact.
Possibly one more after that. Two. So all of these attachments were sent from Doug's phone to Ashley's phone?
Correct.
Okay. And then there's a series of responses from Ashley. Can you tell me what those are?
It's the previous action that we've referenced where she physically takes an, it's not word that she's typing, it's just physically within the operating system of iOS, it allows you to take an action on an image. In this case, she loved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
6 images.
Okay. Let me get it back centered
The lack
again.
of spice in these messages could very much
So after she loved
be
the
important
images,
if it was right up to the time that she shot it.
there's an entry where she types a message. What is that?
That's at 9:31 at night. She responds, "All these are sweet, thank you."
So that's can't be the day
And he
was
responds
shot
with
that late.
an action that he loved the previous message, and then responds with "Y'all rock my world" with a heart emoji. And she responds again with an action of loving that previous message, and with it's a very small emoji, hard to tell what it is after the action.
And then what's the next entry?
The next is an instant, is a message with an attachment, and that's from Doug to Ashley at 6:47 in the morning.
I'm going to pull up the attachment. And again, what is that?
Appears to be another Bible verse.
And if you can continue.
So after, there's a message from Doug, says good morning with emojis, and then also an additional message at 9:28 that says got an email from Stephanie after she talked to Faith. Since order to mediate will meet for 1 hour tomorrow to stop court next week. You dismissed injunction. We signed joint stipulation to dismiss dissolutions and hold until Moreland signs. Order for report. As soon as she signs order, we file dismissal, and we're done. Looks like praying hands emoji and a heart. And then there's an additional message after that. And we have joint session with Dr. Q Friday to wrap up our adventure in Florida, FL, and leave with understanding of double knots and red-blue inversion. After that, there's an action by Ashley Christina that said loved an image, and it continues with a good morning, and there's an emphasis by Doug of good morning. Ashley Christina responds, oh, okay, I'll reach out to Faith to follow up on all the above with a thumbs up. Doug takes an action about and liking that previous image, and then says, and we're done. Again, praying hands emoji, and also responds, and all in first 10 days of Jewish New Year, LOL. It continues with an action of laughed at the previous message. And then at 9:57, Doug responds, you gotta laugh, September 18th was first day of Jewish New Year, 3 years to date of your Odyssey starting day of ballet launch, Rosh Hashanah, the first of the Jewish days of awe. We can call our Odyssey the days of awe, LOL. At 10:13, there's an incoming message, says from Doug, so perfect outside, looks like a sun emoji. Ashley responds with an action for those previous messages, which just repeats, and then writes, oh yay, we should do Selby today. He responds, oh yes, with multiple M's and yum. She responds with a few emojis. He emphasized the emojis, and then adds, Stephanie just sent Faith joint dismissal of everything except injunction, which Faith has to do, just one pager, and also responds, what time thinking Selby? Actually, Christina responds with the action of liking it, and then says, maybe 1:30-ish, I'll text you when we're headed that way with a thumbs up. He responds, or Doug responds, okay, I can come pick you up too. Then adds more time with my baby. Then adds mediation tomorrow by Zoom 10:30 and be quick. Actually responds with the action of liking that. Then added, sorry, just looking at my phone. You don't need to drive all the back to LWR to get us if you are already downtown. But if you want to, that's fine. Just let me know either way. Doug responds, I'm at apartment. Adds, so pretty, enjoying pool area, finally to work, LOL. The next message is an attachment with no body.
From Doug.
That is from Doug to Ashley Christina.
And I'll pull up the attachment.
Oh, it's the infamous foot shot by the pool. Now we're getting the spice.
I just closed that. Let me open it again. And what number were we on?
132, that was the attachment.
Thank you. Okay.
This might be
So
the
after the
most mundane,
attachment,
boring, spiceless
what's the
email
next
text chain
communication?
or text message chain ever read in court.
It's a message from Doug to Ashley Christina. I'll just head your way at 1:30. Ashley Christina responds, hot, nice, okay, just getting our things together now. Maybe head over in like 10 minutes. 10 MIN. Doug responds, okay. And then after that is appears to be an email from Doug to Ashley.
Okay. And after that?
After that is incoming message from Doug. Do you want to get together tonight or in morning before mediation and unify the instructions for Faith and Stephanie? Think we are going to need to keep involved until this is done or will drag out. She responds, ha, okay, thumbs up. He responds, thumbs up. Prefer tonight, maybe run over Pandera or in AM, question mark. And she responds, sure, can do Panera tonight.
Okay, so I want to back up a little bit. We were talking about the entry that was the email before that. Does it have the content of the email in this spreadsheet?
Appears there's quite a bit of metadata involved, but the actual content from what I'm looking at is not actually in there.
Okay, does it say any names associated with the metadata?
There's an email address of Stephanie Murphy. It's at murphylawsarasota.com. There's an email address related to Doug Benefield. And there's, I believe those are the two names that I see that are associated with.
So we left off at sure can do Panera tonight.
Yes. And adds 8 question mark. She responds with a thumbs up. and that was at 7:27 p.m. And she responds at 9:55 p.m. with a good night and a sleeping emoji, and he responds also with a good night with another emoji. He adds sweet dreams, and then also sends an attachment. Correction, the sweet dreams was the last one at 9:56 p.m. The attachment I just referenced was actually 7 o'clock in the morning the next day.
Okay, so the next day I'm clicking on that attachment. And what is that?
Looks up here, a Bible verse.
We had Greeners on the phone, gave us an update on Sarah Boone. We're going to cover that as soon as we have a break. It's
what
a
are
short
the
little
messages
update.
after that?
She might have had someone respond to her
After
ad.
that, there's a good morning with a few emojis. If you want, you can come over here for Zoom. And adds, we can grab bagel and CHI. It's 10 a.m. BT, by the way, BTW is just short. And then there's a phone call at 9 o'clock, 9:07 with no seconds. There's a 151. It says there's an incoming message with no body. And then after that, there's an incoming message with an attachment. It appears to be related to connection to a Zoom meeting, possibly. And then
I'm going to click on that attachment to see if it will come up. It's one of those that will not come up, so go ahead.
the next after that appears to be an ID number and a password typically associated with Zoom meetings, and then a phone call with no seconds. And then 9:38, it continues where Ashley Christina loved an image, then liked the message. It's 10 a.m. by the way, and then added, "Ha, oh man, okay, thanks for the heads up." He responded by liking that, and then added, "Set up here if easier for you." And she responded, "That's okay. I guess I should brush my hair and change out my PJs. LOL, I think I can just do it from my phone." He responds, "LOL, you can." She liked LOL, you can, and then added quick and easy LOL.
And what was the time difference between the like of LOL you can and the quick and easy? Approximately.
About 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. And then what was the next entry after the quick and easy?
So it was another action by Doug for that quick and easy, and then added, "So nice to experience quick and easy, finally, LOL." Then adds, "Smeshing good." Then adds, "PS, you looked great for just rolling out a couch, LOL," and added an emoji.
What are they talking about? Did I miss? Because out of context, this
He
doesn't
added,
sound like...
"I'm working on brief, head over soon as get to stopping point like one." She responds with the action of loving the previous message, or one of the previous messages, "So nice to experience quick and easy." Laughed at also the PS, "Looking great" comment, and then added, "Ha, thanks, figured I should put a clean shirt on even if I had PJs on the bottom half, LOL." She adds, "And okay, just let me know as you're finishing up." He adds, "Just to ponder while I finish up, thinking about getting all the cars up here, and I thought was to ship the Cherokee up there by transport, which is $900, and either tow my truck or tow to your Jetta. The U-Haul plus the car trailer is about $1,000. That's for the biggest truck, which gives us plenty of room. The option is another pod and tow one of the cars behind my truck. Overall price about the same. U-Haul, more flexibility, like taking things straight to storage." She responds, "Okay, things to think about. Maybe best to have you drive the U-Haul and tow your truck behind. Mom and cats will go in the Jeep and I'll drive with Emerson in my car." She added, "LOL, the Beverly Hill." He added, "LOL, the Beverly Hillbillies, coming from dem slums. Forget about cat courier requirements, LOL." She laughed at the Beverly Hillbillies comment, added LOL, then added, I believe, several cat emojis. He laughed at the emojis, then added headed over shortly, brain approaching short circuit. She added, ha, okay, well, give me a bit longer, finishing up mom's closets now so I can get the cats locked up. He added, he liked the previous message, and then there was a outgoing phone call to Doug for 38 seconds. Outgoing message from Christina says, headed that way. He responds, or he took the action of liking it. Added, we done good, LOL. We have Dr. Q at 10:30. Good night, with an emoji.
Okay. So the liked headed that way was at what time?
That was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And then the good night was at what time?
It's 8:27.
Okay.
At night. Saw two of them. Apologize.
And then after the good night?
After good night, there's an outgoing indeed LOL good night from Ashley, and then after that there is an attachment at 5:45 in the morning from Doug.
Okay. And I'll click on the attachment. What is that?
Another Bible verse.
And the next entry?
Appears to be another attachment roughly 15 minutes later.
Okay. And if you could read what this says?
Live a life filled with love. Another Bible verse, Ephesians 5:2.
Was that a henna tattoo or a petroglyph?
At 9:26, there's a message from Doug that says, good morning. Minute later, there's an action of loving an image. Second, loving a minute image. And he responds with, Dr. Q's at 10:30. Do you want a CHI? Question mark.
I think that's chai.
Chai. At 9:27, there's a response from Christina that says, good morning. There's a repeated response, previous message, Dr. Q is at 10:30, do you want a chai? And then and bagel, he added to it. She responds, ha, that's okay, thank you. If I do that this early in the day, I'll be done for the day, LOL, but thank you. He added, he liked that message. And the next appears to be an attachment from Doug related to possibly a YouTube video. And that was at 9:56 a.m.
And it's another one that won't open. And then the next entry.
It's at 10:35 a.m. From Doug, are you able to make Dr. Q okay? She responds, yes, LOL, be in a minute. He responds, no rush, he's still not out, LOL. She responds, I know, LOL, waiting for mom to come out so we can swap. There's a message without just a rectangular square there. And then after that, there's 10:42:35. There's an LOL from Doug. There's a phone call. It's
now the LOL was at 10:42 a.m. and then what's the next entry?
Correct. 10:42 a.m. was the LOL, and then the next is at 5:39 p.m., which is a phone call from Doug, and with 0 seconds. Then adds after the phone call, Ivy here, and then another phone call for 15 seconds at 5:40 p.m. Then,
Your Honor, not to attack Sergeant Quilies because he's been reading for a while, but it's a little tough to follow. I wonder if he could give us the number of the message so it would be much easier to follow.
That's fair.
And I don't know why, but I think your numbers may be off.
Okay.
Off different from this?
They might be. Can you look?
Ivy here is, well, we're not using the numbers that are built into Excel. I want to say
Okay.
The numbers are an actual column. So technically IB
Hang on, I'll
here.
move this over. That's what you're looking at.
Correct. IB here would be 212.
If he gives you that number, are you okay with that?
Can you show him?
Oh my goodness. Jen, what is my favorite Panera food? I'd probably go with this ciabatta cheesesteak. Is that what you're talking about? Can't pass that up.
These numbers here match what he's saying. There's numbers on the Excel spreadsheet that are showing that.
Okay, these are boring text, but if it's boring all the way up to the moment that he gets shot, that could be very
We're on
telling.
215, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if you, Sergeant, if you could just call the number out.
Sure, not a problem.
Oh, good.
That's good.
Also, read in Morgan Freeman's voice if you could, Sergeant.
So we left off of 215, which is at 9 o'clock. It's a good night with an emoji. 216 is an attachment, a JPEG. And that was at 6:43 a.m.
And that is on the next day, correct?
Correct.
9/26.
Correct.
And I pulled up the attachment. What is that?
That's like a Bible verse.
And then you can continue from there.
All right, so moving forward, 217 is from Doug with a good morning. 218, she loves the image. And 219, she responds also with a good morning. 220, Doug sends ready to start with a thumbs up. 221 is a call log from Doug with 0 seconds. 222.
There is nothing in these text
messages.
messages.
A message from Ashley Christina. Okay, I'll text you in a bit with an emoji. I can't tell what it is. Pretty small. Next record is 223. Just one of those action messages, liked a previous message. I need to repeat. 224. Want to come pick me up and we can go get the truck.
And that's from Ashley.
And that's
correct?
from Ashley.
Okay.
And Doug responds, sure, with 225, sure, headed that way. 226, IB here. And that's at 12:41 p.m. And then 227 is all the way at 9 o'clock in the evening, and it's from Doug, and it's a good night, sweet dreams. Then at 228, 923, Ashley responds with the action of loving the previous message, and also responds with a good night.
He died on the 27th. What day are we on now?
There's another attachment at 6:42 from Doug to Ashley.
I'll pull up the attachment. What is that?
It's the Bible verse.
Camera's wandering.
After the attachment at 2:31, Doug sends good morning. 2:32, she responds, loved an image. And 2:33 with a good morning. 2:34, he responds with looks like a strong fist up emoji. And 2:35, there's also an incoming from Doug with just a little rectangle. 2:36, she responds with LOL. 2:37, he responds, what y'all working on? And that's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 2:38, about 15 minutes later, she responds, last cram, LOL, using big boxes and getting the last loose stuff packed up and ready. And also responds on 2:39, how's it going over there? Making progress? He responds at 2:40, number 240, at 1:18 in the afternoon. Loose stuff should be a chapter in our book, LOL. Got everything out and in garage ready to throw on truck except couch, aka bed. Pretty much emptied. Taking Sully to get his shots, then to doggy spa to get groomed and stay until ready to go. 2:41, he adds, I'll come there after drop him off at 3. $242, She responds with the action of laughing at a previous message, and it just repeats. Another action of liking a previous message, then adds, 244 adds, great, could you run by Lowe's before you come over, grab a few large and mediums. 245, he responds, sure, I need a few too, which is at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. At 2:35, number 246, which is at 2:35 in the afternoon, it's just a like by her, sure, I need a few, which just repeated from earlier, and then adds, just to be safe, let's do 10 of each just for the last bit here.
Just an extra 20 boxes for the last stuff.
From Doug, he likes the previous message and adds, and 249, okay, let me know anything else if think of. 250, she responds, tape. 251, and also adds LOL. 252, he responds, ha, K. 253, just finished vet, headed to spa, LOL. 254, she laughed at that previous message. 255, he says, headed there. 256, she responds, okay. The next line, 257, I'm here out front. So she responds, okay, 1 minute.
Now, when he says, I'm
Right
here
before
out
it
front, and she responds, okay, 1 minute, about what time is that during the day?
That's about 3:54 in the afternoon.
Okay, and the next message is at about what time?
3:55 in the afternoon.
And the next after that?
After that, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
So there's an hour and several minutes in between these two?
Correct.
Okay, so after, okay, 1 minute, what is said?
Then 2:59, about to head back from Doug, and then the message after that appears to be an attachment at 5:11 in the afternoon.
And I'm clicking on the attachment for the record.
Yeah, appears to be.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It appears to be maybe the U-Haul truck that they're loading up.
And that was sent from Doug?
That was 5:11. Yeah, that was incoming, yes, from Doug to Ashley.
Okay, and then the next message?
The next is from Doug, and this is number 261. Everything in except couch and 10 medium boxes and tutu cab, LOL. 262, she laughed at the image. 263, she responds, ha, OMG. 264, he responds with trucker on the way, and that's at 5:32 p.m.
At 5:32 p.m., was that the last communication between these two?
I believe so, yes.
Thank you. Judge, can we approach just a moment?
Yes.
Before.
While they approach, let me give you an update in the Sarah Boone case. We just saw an update. There was a hearing today where a representative from, you guessed it, Prison Break Investigations, Mr. Billy Lane, this is the investigator who Sarah reached out to and hired, I think pro bono, to do investigation into her case. He is represented as sort of put himself on the record in court. So representative from Prison Break Investigations, Billy Lane. Court comments say, representative from Prison Break Investigations, Billy Lane, shall take possession and custody of the discovery, 2 boxes, that was provided to the court on 6/28. Her order signed and filed in open court. Representative shall copy all the discovery onto as many USB jump drives as necessary. I'm sorry, but you can fit 2 boxes of documents on one jump drive. Jump drives can be a terabyte. So, yeah. Now, according to my investigation, and let me just, I'll put it right out there. I am not Prison Break Investigations. I am not a licensed investigator in the state of Florida. As a matter of fact, if I show you just briefly, well, then we keep waiting. Prison Break Investigations here is Florida federally licensed.
There's one legal issue that I need to resolve before we finish up with this witness's direct. So I'm going to excuse you in the back. It should take about 10 minutes. It's my best guess. So please don't begin deliberations amongst yourself. You can communicate outside, send and receive texts, emails, telephone calls, but just don't talk about the case. But don't do any research on the people, places, things, or legal topics you've heard anything about. I'll get you back out here as soon as I can.
So, a couple things I want to show you really quickly. Prison Break, look at their logo, and then look at say like how it compares to say the logo down here. Does it look like they might have got inspiration from?
All right, you all can have a seat.
Similar thing.
Detective, I don't know to what extent we're going to be talking about the testimony you may have, so I'm going to go ahead and excuse you for right now, just to be cautious. Please understand the rules of sequestration. The rule of sequestration has been invoked. You're not to discuss your testimony or the answers you've given or the questions you've been asked with anybody outside this room. You're not supposed to talk with any other witnesses about the testimony they've given or the questions they've been asked. And to my understanding, this may be online. You're not to watch or view anything related to this case.
Whatever you do, don't talk to News Channel 8.
Or the jury's returned a verdict in their discharge.
Understood.
All right, so just step outside and get you back in as soon as we can.
So yeah, so Prison Break Investigations
Because I think they're still going to need them down.
is getting a copy of discovery. I don't think they have anyone on their staff that's a licensed attorney, so they cannot represent her. But they are getting a full copy of the discovery.
Okay, the detective is out of the room. We can have argument on this video.
Thank you, Judge. And thank you for rehearing the issue. I had a chance to research it. We obviously weren't.
If you've got case law, contrary to what people may think, I want to make the right decision. So if you've got case law, I want to hear it.
Contrary to what people
I
may
actually
think.
just sent one to the printer because I didn't know if you'd rather have it. But it's called Lumarque. I don't know. Lumarque. It's 44 Southern 2nd. I'm sorry, Southern 3rd, 171.
Say that again.
Sure. 44 Southern 3rd, 171. There's a yellow flag, but it's for a different reason. This case was.
Sorry. Judge, are you looking it up electronically, or would you like a hard copy?
No,
Okay.
I'll take a copy if you have one.
Oh. Give me 1 second, Judge. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Is that the only one you've got? No, you can have it.
One at a time. I can do it, Judge.
We printed this for you, but then realized we needed 2 copies, so here's the paper copy. Sorry.
It's not off the printer.
Judge, they revoked my copy in favor of the court.
In favor of the court.
We're not going to do anything until you get a copy.
It should come any second.
Of course, I can't blame their decision, Your Honor.
Is that the copy machine we're hearing? Preacher has its own mic, Bob. This is the funniest thing I've seen all day. It does. Yeah, these text messages, they don't have anything in them that would be a telltale sign of what was going on, but there also doesn't need to be to have something going on.
The part that I'm referring to is on the second page. It's a short case, luckily, where my reading of it is there were text messages and photographs, which I think videos and photographs are treated the same in most case law. That's my understanding and my feeling. But that there were images and text messages that could not be authenticated by an ex-wife on the defendant's phone. And the trial court did not allow them into evidence. The third DCA here said the court erred. The images and text messages were found on the defendant's cellular phone.
Can you slow down just a little bit for the court reporter?
I apologize. The images and text messages were found on the defendant's cellular phone, seized pursuant to a search of the defendant's home through a warrant shortly after the alleged incident. This fact was testified by the state's forensic expert and is sufficient to authenticate the exhibits. Here, those phones have been in evidence since the day before. The contents of them were admitted with a trial exhibit today and not objected to. The only thing is this one video was objected to, this attachment. And the state would argue based on this case that we have established this phone was properly searched, properly downloaded, and the material was found on the defendant's phone, the video found on the defendant's phone, and therefore the state would argue it should be admitted.
All right. Mr. Taylor?
Just 1 second, Your Honor. Okay, I distinguish it on 2 bases, Your Honor. They quote U.S. versus Caldwell 11th Circuit decision, holding that authentication of evidence merely requires a finding that the evidence is what it purports to be. Well, that's the exact issue. Sergeant Quilies cannot do that. He can only say this is a video, it was on the phone. He can't say it's a true and accurate reproduction of what took place on that morning. He doesn't know, for example, who was there that might not have appeared in the video, what the motivation was that brought them there.
It's a weak argument.
Able to say whether it was under coercive circumstances. I don't think he qualifies to be able to lay that predicate. And second reason why I don't think this case is applicable is in this case, they held that it was admissible because it constitutes evidence of motive. Judge, this is a second-degree murder case. As the court knows, motive in second-degree murder is not an element. There is no obligation that murder be proven. I don't think they can lay the necessary predicate, Your Honor.
State rebuttal.
Just that I think defense counsel's arguments go to the weight, not the admissibility. I think this case stands for the fact that we've entered, without objection, cell phones that contain this video, and then now without objection, the trial exhibit with the attachments and the CD. The objection was just to one after, which I think is also an issue, but I think we don't have to get there. But I think this case stands for the fact that once we've laid the predicate, that this was a properly searched phone and that the data on it was properly removed and the detective testified that everything was in order, then we've laid the predicate for the contents of the attachments to also be admissible based on this case that I can't say the first name of.
What was the date and time of this particular message?
The message was, I don't know that you can read the small print on that, but there's a copy. But it is, if you're wondering if it was before the Panera conversation or after.
I want to know the day and time that this attachment was sent.
It was sent 9/20 of 2020 at 6:40 p.m.
What number?
Almost a week before
25.
to the minute that he was killed.
And the Excel spreadsheet, which is the data dump from the defendant's cell phone, shows it's in blue. So it's from
the defendant's phone. So it's from the defendant's phone to, I'm sorry, from
correct.
the
It's
victim's
from
phone to the defendant's phone.
right. It's from Doug Benefield's phone
Yes.
to Ashley Benefield's phone.
Yes.
All right. Any further argument? Because I wanted to ask that question, know specifically when.
No, sir.
Anything else?
No, Judge.
All right. No objection or no judge?
I thought you said, do I have any further
Anything
argument?
else? And you said no?
And I don't. No,
Okay.
Judge. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Well, as I said, if there's case law out there that is contrary to a prior ruling, I think it needs to be brought to my attention. And what State versus Lumarque, Lumarque, 44 Southern 3rd, 171, at 172 to 173, Florida 3rd DCA 2010, states pretty unequivocally, the images and text messages found on the defendant's cell phone seized pursuant to a search of the defendant's home through a warrant, which it wasn't here. It's my understanding, the testimony that I heard was that they were provided to law enforcement. Shortly after the alleged incident, this fact, testified by the state's forensic expert, is sufficient to authenticate these exhibits.
It's coming in.
So the issue is authentication, and that's where I had initially sustained, because obviously there was got to be no witness, this Quilies? Quilies, sorry.
He says keyless entry. That's how to remember it. It helps me.
Keyless
entry.
Certainly could not authenticate the video. And just to be clear, I'm not sure, I think it's on the record that it's going to be a video of the defendant and her mother that's taken by a third party. I outlined it pretty in depth in my order denying the stand your ground. And like I said, certainly the technical services unit couldn't authenticate it, saying that it's the traditional way, that it's a fair and accurate depiction of the events of that day. So then I had mentioned that the bench, perhaps the state could lay the silent witness predicate. However, I don't find that the silent witness predicate was sufficiently laid by the detective Quilies. Quilies.
Was not laid.
However,
case law.
Apparently, according to this case, it is
coming in.
Authenticated by the fact that it was found on the defendant's cell phone that was seized shortly after the incident. And at this point, it's been sufficiently testified to by the state's witnesses and the forensics expert that he did find this video on there. In fact, in addressing the defense arguments, the 3rd DCA goes on to say, regardless of how these images and text messages might have found their way onto the defendant's cell phone, the state has presented sufficient evidence at this stage. Certainly, they met the admissibility that these exhibits constitute evidence of motive. As we've discussed, motive is not an element. But the state has made the argument in the past and makes today that the entry of these items is not for the truth of the matter asserted, but to show the relationship and interactions between the parties in the days leading up to the homicide and the normal texts and banter and communication of a married couple that is in the middle of a divorce. So for those reasons, I will reverse my prior decision, and the video would be admissible under this case.
Thank you.
So we did that specifically so you could finish with your direct, and the ruling is made so that it's available on cross. I know we talked about different options, but I'm glad we did it that way because I think it makes a lot more sense.
So we can recall him and play it, and then we'll tender the witness.
Correct. So when the jury left, he was on the stand.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right. So I'm just going to put him back on the stand. The jury won't know any different.
I'm sorry.
All right. So if we can bring.
Can we take a quick restroom break?
All right. 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Hope there's no line. All right, so we're gonna be back after a very, very short break. There's Jules in the courtroom wearing the Recovery Addict hoodie we gave her that for her work with the Maya trial. She's really helped us out a ton. All right, we're not sure what the video is of. It was on the defendant's cell phone, but it was a video taken by somebody else of her and her mom. Well, we're going to see it, hopefully. We're hoping to see it. Wow, what a morning. What a crazy morning in court. We're still on the first witness. It's 11 o'clock. We've only had one witness on the stand, this Sergeant Quilies. He's the guy who did the phone dump. And they kept talking about dumps when they should have probably used more technical terms. A couple times I've thought we've had a different conversation than what we were having. This court seems to be flirting with those double entendre type things. Let's see. Oh, somebody's calling. Let's see who this is.
Call from Erica.
Good morning, Erica. How are you doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. What's on your mind?
So, quick question for you. What did you think about Eva's TikTok video that you didn't think was proper?
That she was reading messages. That she was talking. She posted mentioning court. Then she was reading all the replies about it. That means there's a conversation, even though it's digital. That was it. I've got Jules on the line. Erica, can I let you go? Is that all right?
Sure.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Hey.
Call from
Jules. Are you there?
Hey.
Sorry, I hung up on Erica. I owe her another call. But spicy morning. I think you did the right thing telling the bailiff what you saw. So good on you there.
I wasn't sure. I was really conflicted, but then I thought, I don't know what to do. So I did. I went to the bailiff. I told him exactly what happened. I said, listen, I don't know if it's relevant or not. And he goes, actually, it is. It backs up what the juror just said. Yeah. And so I said, okay, then we can just let it go. He goes, no, I have to tell the judge.
and that's the right thing. I mean, had you not done that, then you'd be like, oh, should I have said something? I think you did the right thing. We love what you're doing there in court. Keep it up. Appreciate it. I know this is a very short break, so you're going to have to get back into court. But what a morning. Lots of unexpected twists and turns this morning with the juror interviews.
And I'm really concerned. Yeah, I'm concerned about this video that's going to be played.
It'll be interesting. I don't know any details about it, but the judge has said case law rules on that one, and it's coming in because it was found on her phone during a properly executed search.
Yeah, but during stand your ground, he wouldn't allow it in.
And maybe there's a problem there. Maybe that's a appeal type issue, because if the case law applied before, shouldn't it have been allowed in on the stand your ground?
I would have. That's what I thought, but I don't know.
If the state wants it in, right?
State wants it in. Defense does not.
So I don't think it would be an appeal issue on the stand your ground then, because a state won that hearing. So.
Well, no. In stand your ground, state did not want it. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm going back in.
Okay.
I'm wearing your
hoodie. It looks great. Thank you, Jules. Have a good one.
I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right. Jules is headed back in. What did Jules tell the bailiff? Jules witnessed she witnessed the Ted scenario. She was at the same restaurant at lunch and saw the juror, Ted, arrive. The news was on. They were talking about this. Apparently, Jules said she told the bailiff that Ted, the juror, we know Ted's name because he got outed in court. I don't know his last name, but I don't know what else to call him. The male juror who participated in this lunch scenario expressed to an employee, he said, can you turn that off? Might have said, can you turn that off because I'm a juror or something like that? And Jules said the store owner or the representative of the store was sort of bad-mouthing the juror at some point, probably outside the presence of the juror, for making them turn the TV off. But I think the juror did mostly the right thing in saying, hey, don't talk about that around me. I'm a juror. Anyway, Erica, I apologize. I cut you off. We've got Jules that sort of has like a hotline access to the burner phone. Great question that you asked, first of all. I want to go back and ask that. What did I think was inappropriate about the TikTok that Eva posted? And first of all, I think she's doing great as a company. I'm super proud of her that she started her own business. Thal wants a moment here. Just
Call
1 second.
from.
Thal, let me finish up my response to Erica because she had such a good question. What did I think was inappropriate? The message I thought was mostly inappropriate. It started with a screenshot of a response to her saying, "So I just testified today in my dad's murder trial." That one. She's posted a response to that from her crush, right? Which is cool. It's fine. But it shows that she is talking about the trial, even just vaguely, in terms that are probably okay, not really her testimony. But then she's reading responses, and people who are reading responses have watched the trial or are watching the trial. And we know for a fact from her own statement that her crush was watching the trial online at home. So she's coming out of court and getting input from other people who have watched the trial. That, I think, is where the line is crossed and where it's not appropriate. And then the TikTok, the third one she posted, shows that she talks about all her jewelry. That's great. That's awesome. I think she's doing great with that business. And then at the end, she's like, "So I'll, keep me posted." Meaning she says, "I'll go out." Either she says, "I'll keep you posted" or "keep me posted." But she says, as soon as I leave court, I just scroll through all the messages and see what people say. That's the problem. That's all I was getting at that way. Thal, what's on your mind? We've got just a moment before we come back from break.
Okay, I cracked Uncle Thal went ahead and cracked the case for you and the rest of the chat. Real quick, I know exactly what happened. I have the motive, ladies and gentlemen. The smoking gun, that's right. And it's not chickens or dogs this time, so don't give me no guff, all right, Recovery Addict? Don't give me no guff. This is a solid theory, all right? Y'all can run with it to the bank.
Let me
So what happened was...
We're back.
Okay, dang it. All right,
bye. We'll never know. Thal has all the answers, and we'll never know what happened.
All right, can I go ahead and bring Detective Quilies back in?
Yes.
Thal is a friend of the channel. He typically calls in with a comedic type take on everything, so it's not I wouldn't think you're missing something factual by any means. It's probably funny. We'll get him maybe on the next break. Good friend of the channel, another fellow YouTuber, very different content creator.
You can retake the stand, reposition yourself as needed.
Reposition yourself. It sounds like adjust yourself as needed.
Sir, did you speak to anyone about your testimony or their testimony or anything at all?
No.
Did News Channel 8
back in?
Yes.
Try to give you their business card?
Mr. Taylor?
Yes. Sorry.
Bring him in.
Thal's YouTube channel is about Warhammer 40K, and if you don't know what that is, it's probably very, very different than some other things you watch on YouTube.
All right, y'all can sit down. Welcome back, everybody. Anybody begin deliberations, communicate with anyone outside the jury about the case, or do any research on the case?
No, sir.
All right, everybody says no. State, you can resume your questioning.
Okay, I just have one thing before I turn witness over. There was an attachment, a video that was sent by Doug. It's line 25. So sent by Doug to Ashley, correct? Yeah, hold on. Oh, you don't have the sheet in front of you.
No.
Sorry.
Thank you. Line 25 is an attachment from Doug to Ashley Christina.
Okay, I'm going to play that attachment.
A lot of movement in her chair for Ashley.
I don't even know what it's doing. I think it's giving you clues that I gotta guess.
Is it like with words? I'd say not safe.
Get real.
Second word.
Real.
They're putting heads up.
Working mother. Not a working mother.
Working mother, not a working mother.
Not a working mother. I live in a
From.
People said earlier, like,
Oh no, it's running out of time.
I live in a
House.
and
Real house. White.
So put together.
Housewives of. Oh, real. Oh.
What was that dated?
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Cross. And Mr. Taylor,
That
do
is
you
a
want
fun
the
game, by the way,
screen, or
if
do you
you've
want the
never
lights
played
back
that.
up?
That's a fun little game to play with your
I'm
phone.
going to use the screen.
Yes, sir. We'll leave it as is.
Do you want your...
It says Real Housewives. That was the clue. They were trying to guess that. He was not giving any clues, though.
Good morning, Sergeant Quilies.
Good morning.
They were not giving any clues, very many clues.
I want to make sure that we can establish the contours of your testimony. From the technical services unit, you're capable and authorized to extract this information from the cell phones of both Doug Benefield and Ashley Benefield.
Yes.
You don't know the context about the messages. You just are able to read what's printed.
I can read what's printed from the extraction, yes.
Right. But, for example, there were quite a few Bible verses. You wouldn't be able to necessarily tell us that Doug Benefield's a very religious guy. You just can tell us, here's the Bible verses that he posted.
Yes, I can tell you that he sent a Bible verse.
Okay. And you can't tell us the reason that either party may have had for sending a particular text. You can only tell us this is what the text says.
Correct.
You can't tell us whether the text is true or false. You can only tell us what the text says.
Correct.
That's what you just said.
You can't tell us if the text is genuine or motivated by fear. You can only tell us what it says.
Correct.
That game is called Heads Up, and it's a downloadable app. I think it costs a little money to get
past you
some
what
features, but it's fairly
we've
cheap.
marked as Defendant's Exhibit 3 and ask you if you can identify it.
I would object to be on the scope.
Okay, I don't know.
Come here, bud.
All right. The judge says, I don't know, meaning I don't know where he's going here, what he's bringing up. So how can he rule that this is beyond the scope? Because he just wants to present a document. I think he's shown the prosecution what the document is, and that's why they've objected. I would say that if it is from the download from the phone, some sort of report, any part of that download, it's probably going to be fair game, I would say here. But if it's something from another witness or from another police report that he wasn't a part of, it might not be coming in. General counsel says defense is a habitual line crosser regarding scope. Yes, he likes to stray a bit from the norms. Why does she get to listen to the discussions, right, for fair trial in Florida? Yes. Yes, that is a right that's recognized in Florida, that the defendant has a right to participate in all the proceedings in court. And so she'll wear those and hear what's going on up there.
I'm going to pass to you, Sergeant Quilies, what I've marked now as Defendant's Exhibit 3. Those would they not, text messages that you also extracted?
I believe these were the text messages that you may highlighted during a deposition, and we confirmed that these came from, I believe, Doug's phone.
Correct.
Yes.
And that we requested.
I apologize, Judge. I do think we need to refer to them.
Ooh, what's he getting at? Was this a Brady? And that we requested is where he cut off, and now the state says we need to approach and talk about this again. Judge says, hand me the paper. I want to see these. This is a known issue if it was brought up in a deposition prior to court. This particular witness has seen those before. He's authenticated that they came from Doug's phone. But, I mean, how can it be a Brady issue or any sort of, I guess they might call it, what, Richardson? If they had it at a deposition, that surely is plenty of time. Looks like the state is doing some explaining here. I'm not sure who you're talking about, Redford, but I'm curious. How many of you ever had a haircut with a Flowbee? Do you guys remember what that was? It was the vacuum cleaner that was a vacuum cleaner and hair cutting tool all in one. That was my age. You remember the Flowbee? Yes. Break. Jules is going to respond to the video that was published. That would be great. I'm not sure why we got it, other than it's a great advertisement for Heads Up, which is a fun little app to play with friends using your cell phone or your tablet. We use one on a rabbit. Hey, they're still around. You have a rabbit? Weather Watch. I'm not surprised that you have a rabbit, but you have a rabbit whose hair is long enough that a Flowbee can function? Deanne, yes, this is a case that involves domestic violence, and as always, if that's not the right spot for you, or if that is troubling, please think of yourself first as far as your own personal health and well-being. Ivy, no, it rained about 6 inches yesterday. Not really, but it seemed like it. It was pouring rain. We had massive storms come through. Wendy, I've been interested in the law since I was a kid. I think started studying the law when I was in junior high school. I was also reading not docket, but court transcripts at the same time. But I went the other route. I went with media. I've worked a little bit for the police, doing some filming work, drone use, metal detector, that sort of stuff. And professionally, I worked for the Department of Defense. And that's about all I can tell you about that part. But that's the background. Always loved the law. Always studied it. So I like to say I'm LawTube adjacent. Fuzzy Lop has really long hair. We watched our neighbor's bunny for them once. And they said it was an indoor bunny. Can I just say there's no such thing as an indoor bunny? I don't think you can train a bunny to go in a particular spot. Yeah, we took their word for it. There was an indoor bunny, and we found little surprises at nearly every hop. I remember he went back, jumped on top of the pile of the shipping labels that I used to ship all my Amazon books, and peed on the whole stack. That's what the bunny did. No more indoor bunnies for us. You can train them. This one was not trained. Oh Oh, Julie F. member for 10 months. Congratulations, Julie. Welcome to the gallery. Good to have you in green. Okay, so maybe they insinuated that the bunny was litter box trained, but it was not. No. Although, as a child, my family raised rabbits for food. True story.
If they didn't, I would lose my
I didn't know we were raising them for food, so I thought we had just a lot of pets. But occasionally, dinner would be served, and I couldn't find one of my favorite rabbits. That was growing up. I'm not sure if I spelled whoopin right. I've got WHOOPIN as the command. I'm not sure if there's... I did not see anything in the video that was... I can go back and watch it on our replay, but I didn't see anything in the video other than you've got Ashley and her mom. There's the one about to catch a whooping. You've got Ashley and her mom, and that appeared at the very end. That appeared to be Doug. From the images I've seen, that looked like Doug as the person who was filming and sort of behind the camera. They were at lunch, and they're playing Heads Up. Aside from that being a very annoying game to play in a public place like a restaurant because it's loud, I didn't see anything really interesting or important about that other than that they looked like they were having fun together. And this was, I think a week before the incident. In the Netherlands, we have a Christmas song about your rabbit situation. Oh, man. Yeah. Is that a Norwegian thing? I don't think so. I think it was just a poor family with a lot of rabbits, and the solution sort of spelled itself out. We also had chickens, and I was the only kid who was brave enough to collect the eggs from the chickens. Fun story. Same situation. We were living in a valley, a mountain valley up near the Idaho-Utah border. Okay, and we had a garden that we planted, and there were hailstorms that came in, and we knew that hailstorms would come in periodically and destroy the vegetables. So we had a bunch of 5-gallon buckets, and we took these 5-gallon buckets, and when a storm was coming, we'd run out and put the buckets upside down on top of all the plants we had planted to protect them from the hail. Well, we were not so diligent in taking the buckets off the plants as we were in putting them on. So what we had is, rainstorm, plant watered, fertilized, everything, bucket goes on top. We created like 50 mini greenhouses. And of course, we didn't know what we were doing when we decided to plant zucchini, so we planted like 30 zucchini plants. And we left them on, and when we took the bucket off, like the plant had filled the bucket. We had so many zucchini.
All right, members of the jury, this is going to take a little bit longer. So what I'm going to do at this point is, it's about 11:30. I'm going to let you go to an early lunch. So if you could be back downstairs in the jury assembly room at 12:45. That gives you a little bit extra time. That'll give us time to take care of what we need to take care of. And we'll get you back up here as soon as we can right after your lunch break. Please remember, don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't discuss the case with anybody else, and don't do any research on the people, places, things, or legal topics you've heard anything about. All right, thank you.
Okay, as they're leaving, I'll just say we had so many zucchini from our little garden adventure that we could not give them away. We were driving to the grocery store and just sticking them in people's cars if they left the window down.
Go ahead and bring up the lights.
I'm not sure how the grocery store thought about that, because you couldn't buy a zucchini there. You just got them free. We put carts full of
zucchini. I'm going to
zucchini.
let you go also for lunch. Just remember the admonitions from earlier. Don't discuss the case with anyone. Don't let anyone discuss the case with you. Don't talk with any other witnesses. You can't talk with the attorneys about their testimony. Don't do any research or watch anything online.
Understood.
If you could be back here at 12:45. Sure. All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we've got some business to do here as he leaves. Let's see what it is they're going to talk about.
12:45.
Nope, they just go to lunch. They just go to lunch. Crazy. We have made our window for the next, we're going to take a lunch break as well. We'll be back at 12:30. So as they go to lunch and all file out, let's recap what happened so far today. See, it's sort of quiet in court. I think Jules may be calling in to talk about that video, which I think will be important because I missed it. If there was something important that happened there, I did not see it. But let's see. Everyone's leaving here. One side leaves first, then the other. That's all right. And Thal wants to finish his story. I'm going to cut him off as soon as Jules calls.
Call from.
Oh.
Hey, Thal, you've got seconds before Jules calls, and I just hang up on you.
Okay, so you have no excuse now, dang it. But anyway, so I know what happened. So remember that he sent her a YouTube video, right?
Yes.
In the text messages? I know the motive, ladies and gentlemen. You can trust Uncle Fall. That's because he rickrolled her, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. He sent her a spoof YouTube video that rickrolled her, and after that, she lost it.
Yeah.
It was game over.
All right. No, but good idea. All right. Jules is
perfectly
calling.
valid
Gotta
theory.
go. Thanks, Thal.
Bye.
Call from.
Jules.
Jules, how are you doing? Are you at lunch?
Yes, I'm on the escalator going downstairs now to go to the deli that I was at yesterday.
Yeah.
But in any case, you know that video? Do you know what that video was?
It was a
you
heads
know what
up.
they were
It was
doing?
a heads up game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. So how does the heads up game prove motive? I'm so befuddled.
I don't know. I don't know what that. Here's what I'll tell you from an outside perspective. All the text messages, which were the tamest text messages I have ever heard read in court, there was nothing in them. I mean, we could insert some sort of innuendo at something, but I don't think that was intended. I think they were clean as clean could be. And the video went along with that. It's like, hey, here's some people having lunch and laughing. We got.
I mean, if anything, for me, it shows a loving couple. Now, was she placating him? I mean, I just don't know. I'm very confused. I did have. Well, I had conversations with people this morning, okay? I'm not going to say, I don't want to say who they were.
You can keep your secrets. You're good.
Because of what happened.
Yeah.
Just because of what happened in court.
We almost had you up on the stand testifying today. That was close.
Oh my God! I gotta go.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
I cannot believe.
Jules just saw somebody that she recognizes. Let me say this. We'll catch up with Jules later, but let me tell you what happened with Sarah Boone today, because this is also down in Florida, Orange County, Florida. Several letters ago, we found out that she hired a private investigator named Billy Lane with Prison Break Investigations. It's crazy. It's wild. I don't know how he's getting paid or if he's getting paid, but he just appeared in court in a hearing today, made a presentation or entered himself in as a representative that's working on the case. And you remember, she's pro se. Well, per the court, the Prison Break is going to take possession of all the discovery, and he's going to digitize everything. That is a huge, 2 boxes. That's a huge task for somebody who doesn't know how to do it. Apparently they know how to do that. He's supposed to put it all on jump drives. But apparently Prison Break is still a part of her case as maybe an expert witness, which is one of the things they do. So That's the Sarah Boone update. Other than that, we're still set for a status hearing on 8/5, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. That means in a week we get a status hearing, or a little over a week, 10 days or so. And then we'll have the trial management hearing 9/24 and trial starting 10/07. So a new hearing scheduled on the docket. That's all we have. That's the Sarah Boone update, Picky. That's everything we got for you. So much happening in Florida. So much. We have Jules just saw a unicorn. She'll call back. Probably maybe right before we come back if we give her enough time. Oh, wait. Who's this? It's connecting. Let's see if it actually connects. Call failed. Whoever tried to call in, it did not connect. Quick recap. Oh, that was Jules. Give me just 1 second. Jules' call broke up. Hopefully she gives me another try. Quick recap on the witnesses for today, day 3. We had all the spiciness with the judge getting a letter from the law firm representing a reporter about a juror possibly overhearing some conversation at a restaurant. Jules witnessed that, so she gave that information to the bailiff, and the court decided not to ask her about it. Also had the report that about Eva Benefield, where she talked to a reporter, and she's been posting on social media, and had that little exchange as well. Let's see, Sergeant Brian Quilies. He's the only person we've had on the stand so far. We're still on witness number 1. We had 8 witnesses yesterday, and we're still on witness number 1. Okay, come on, Jules. Let's see if this will work. Man, I think she's in a bad spot. Let's see. Let's see. All right, we'll figure it out over lunch. Karina says, what streaming service shouldn't I get to watch the Olympics and the most NFL games? I just paid for Peacock so my kids can watch the Olympics, and they're loving it. Soccer was yesterday, I think. USA. Well, I won't spoil it for you. I think that's it. We've got nothing. We've had the most tame morning of testimony after the most spicy surprise hearings ever. Okay, come on. Work this time.
Call from Amanda.
Oh, Amanda, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're live on the air. What's on your mind?
Okay, hang on. I'm getting a double whammy here. Okay, so here's my thing. I've been watching. Obviously, I've missed some because I'm, between working and stuff. I do not feel that the prosecution yet has proven that it wasn't self-defense. Is it just me? But I've yet to hear all those text messages. I mean, that meant nothing to me. The video was nothing.
I would say that those text messages probably show that during those texting, there was nothing going on. But it doesn't mean that nothing had happened. I mean, we do have a bullet hole in the ceiling, a fist hole in the wall, and a dog that got punched. We have other competing evidence that there were other times in the relationship where things were not so smooth as they appeared to be on the video during lunch and on this text exchange.
Right. But see, I'm not feeling that they're showing that it was blatant murder, not self-defense, that she was recovering. As a victim of DV, everybody thought my relationship was just peachy. We were the happiest couple in the world. Everything was kosher. We, were happily married, blah, blah, blah,
It can be
but behind the doors.
Completely in secret. It's so hard to see in some situations. And
so to me, those messages didn't show anything, but she could have been faking she was happy with him, trying to save herself from the next beating, from the next threat, the next name calling, the next whatever it may be.
It could be entirely placating him, just anything to make him happy, laugh at his jokes,
Absolutely.
smile, be the wife he wants. That could have been happening. And I mean, and I've got to say, I can't see that. I don't know. I wasn't there. I feel for this jury because they have to make a decision on that, and they weren't there.
And this is someone's life, and I don't think DP's not on for this one, right?
No, it's a second degree, so no.
Okay, I didn't think so. Here, I mean, I'm in Texas. Everything gets DP here,
Capital punishment, first offense, speeding. Yep.
But I'm just not, like I said, I'm not feeling that they have 100% proven yet. I mean, I know that we still have, two more witnesses, plus they'll finish up with the one.
They were supposed to arrest this morning, so clearly we're behind schedule, but we know we had some problems, but...
right, unless they have something in their back pocket, I'm not feeling that they have proven yet that she just blatantly murdered him. But they haven't also proven that it's self-defense either.
Yeah, and the burden is on them in Florida. It switched on self-defense. It switches to the prosecution to prove it wasn't self-defense. But she lost her self-defense hearing.
Right,
so they don't have to do that. Now she's talking about the battered wife. I don't know. I'm confused about the actual legal process as far as what needs to be proved and for the specific elements in this case. But it doesn't seem the situation is clear right now, which I think it should be at the end of the state's case.
Right, and battered wife is so, I've been there. I mean, what finally drove me to finally leave my ex was he was sitting there calling me the see you next Tuesday name and just downgrading me. And I'm sitting there thinking in the back of my mind, there's a butcher knife over there in the kitchen. I could kill him and get by with it. And that's when I knew I had to leave because I've never been in a fight in my life. I've never put my hands on nobody. But when I got to that point, I knew something was wrong. So I completely understand the battered wife thing because I could have easily, but of course I chose to make the wiser decision and just leave while he was out of town working,
It's amazing that you were able to do that. A lot of times the situation is all encompassing and sometimes what might seem like might seem like an obvious decision to somebody on the outside the situation might not even occur or might not be possible for somebody inside the situation. So I'm glad you were able to get out of that.
Absolutely. And I was very fortunate because far too many men and women, it works both ways. Men and women aren't able to get out before something tragic happens to themselves or they do something to the partner, and I am very fortunate. I had, the Lord on my side to help me, and I have family support, friend support. Anyways, that's not what I called about. But, awesome. But I feel, if that's the case, this battered wife, I understand it. I've been there. I understand it. And if that's what she had to finally was what snapped in her. That's what she had to do. I feel for her. I feel for her so much if that's the case. And I hope she's not using that because there's so many people that it's legit. And to abuse a term or something like that for people that are victims.
It's the crying wolf thing, right? We're saying
exactly.
And this puts us as outsiders in a terrible position where we have to decide if someone else saying something happened is real or not. And we look at it based on our perception and maybe our experience and saying, well, it doesn't match what I have. So either it did happen or didn't happen. And I would hate to ever have to make that call. This would be the hardest type of jury to be on, where I have to say,
absolutely,
is what happened to you? Do I count that as abuse? Do I see that as abuse? And oh my goodness,
right?
I am not the person.
Then just abuse in general. Just my ex calling me the names he called me. Some people would not call that abuse.
Oh, there's all different types of abuse, and they're just as harmful. Abuse can
what
drive
I consider abuse. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But what I consider abuse, the next person may not consider abuse. And that's the thing. There's no guideline that says XYZ is abuse.
Yeah.
Withholding, doing laundry. Some people consider that abuse. Some people don't.
Yeah.
There's no guideline on that.
I think the hard part for the defense is we have a physical response, right? Where we have a response where she shot Doug and killed him, and there's an expectation there that there's some sort of, on the other side of the physical side, there should be reciprocating or some sort of marks or telltale signs, and that's been limited. The police have said they didn't see any swelling, where another doctor says there was swelling. That was different. What you saw looked normal to me. That was swollen. A couple scratches, things like that. And I'm worried the jury has to weigh these. And what a tough situation to be in, to say, does that?
I wouldn't want to be in those jury shoes at all.
Yeah.
I'm all for. I get excited when I get my jury summons in.
Yeah.
But
I don't
this
get 'em.
is one that I would not want to be on at all.
Yeah.
So,
Amanda, thank you very much. Appreciate the call.
Thank you.
We are going to
Have
take
a
a
great
break.
rest of your day.
You too. We're going to take a break. We're going to go to lunch. Let you do so as well. Don't talk to anybody about the case during lunch. Oh wait, that's witnesses. You're good.
Oh, okay. I know I dream about that saying every night now. No. Have a good rest of your day.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I've got one more call. See if we got a different opinion here.
I would like to speak.
Hey, this is Recovery Addict. Who do I have on the phone?
Oh, I'm so glad to reach you. I got you on the big TV. I was waiting on you to answer. I'm just calling in anonymously right now to say I have been in her shoes for 45 years. Only reason why I have not left is only because of my children. My oldest one just got 18.
Man, my heart goes out to you.
No. No, it's a choice I made.
I know,
sacrificed myself for my children.
But it still breaks my heart that people are in this situation, and I have no words. I first of all, I have no advice because it's not my position to give the advice here. But I also
I'm
have
paralyzed now, so I'm good. The Lord has blessed me. That's all I have to say. My children are getting grown. I've been paralyzed for 12 years, and it just happened. So I was a paralegal too. So y'all have a great day. Tell Jewel I say hello. I love seeing her in the courtroom. I have not noticed her since Maya's trial. I've been with you since then.
Yeah.
But I watch you on my big screen.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so
Look,
much. It was good to hear from
you.
you.
And your wife and your children, y'all have a great day.
Thank you so much. We'll see you.
Y'all are so sweet on this show.
Thank you. Kind words. Have a good one
You can't see
yourself.
me signed in unless I come to my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm from way down south of Mississippi.
Your accent is betraying you just a tiny bit.
Oh, don't tell me that. Is that good or bad?
No, it's good. We love it. But your accent does say south a
born
little
and bred here.
Yeah.
Sir?
Thank you so much. I appreciate the call.
What'd you say?
I just said
Right for that.
your accent does betray you just a little bit. It says you're from the south.
I'm going to change. I got to practice then. I got a little cold too, so I get a credit. Look, I love my Southern. I'm proud of where I come from.
You should be. Thank
Look,
you so much.
Thank you, and God bless you all. And tell every woman out there, there's hope.
That's awesome.
There's a way out. I just couldn't find it.
Oh man. Well, thank you so
have
much
a great
for sharing.
day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right, we're gonna wrap up. Yes, we do take calls. We have a burner phone. I figure I have your ear. You should be able to get mine if you need me. So we do have a burner phone. Unfortunately, I can't take all the calls. I do get a lot of messages. I'm going to try to respond. There's one I have to fix, an issue that happened with the super chat. I'm going to see if we can get that resolved. I'll do that over lunch, and until then, we're going to take a break. We'll be back at 12:30. We've already opened the thumbnail for the next video, so we're already ready to go. When court comes back, we'll be here. You can watch it all gavel to gavel with us. We'll be breaking it down and discussing what happens. And first of all, we're behind schedule. We expected the state to have rested by now. We expected to be in the defense's case, but we're not there yet. So maybe this afternoon. I'll end the way we normally do. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again in about 45 minutes at 12:30 Eastern time is our start. And until then, we'll do a portal over to the other live stream, and you can chat amongst yourselves. I'm going to go make a salad, so I'm going to go eat some rabbit food. You guys be good to each other. We'll see you.
Fine.
Shame on you, sir.